It's me and
Elevate my hustle, gotta get your stress. Cause you the kind of girl I wanna make to my wife. Ain't no point that anyone can make, I know they ain't right. They can't tell me how I feel or walk a day in my life. For all the miles I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Cause something about your eyes always shine for real. Stick it out with me as you gon' sign the deal. For all the miles I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Cause something about your eyes really shine for real. Stick it out with me as you gon' sign the deal, yeah. Little crazy light, baby, fiending on her lately. Heavy on my mental, so I'm in the booth for wavy. See me, I don't give a fuck, I'm open, I ain't shady. These niggas see us, so they hating. Sipping bottles again, dugging all of the feds. Putting loaves inside the cover, we ain't splitting no bread. Getting all these different fabrics off your neck and your head. Hope that karma ain't gon' get me for what's coming ahead. My baby says she wanna love song. 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 I'ma sing her this love song. Sing her this love song. Yeah, I'm singing to you. Elevate my hustle, gotta get your stress. Cause you the kind of girl I wanna make to my wife. Ain't no point that anyone can make, I know they ain't right. They can't tell me how I feel or walk a day in my life. For all the miles I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Cause something about your eyes always shine for real. Stick it out with me as you gon' sign the deal. For all the miles I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Cause something about your eyes really shine for real. Stick it out with me as you gon' sign the deal, yes. Something really shine for real. Something really shine for real. Something really shine for real. In your eyes it shine for real. For all the miles I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Stick it out with me as you gon' sign the deal. Stick it out with me as you gon' ride. For all the miles I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Stick it out with me as you gon' sign the deal. Baby, is you mine?
I don't need your help. You think you can feel me, but I'm doing well. One thing you can feel, I'm doing just fine. You think you can change me, I'll change.
I hope I'm never sitting courtside. Shit happened so quick it felt like there was no time. Body was programmed just to always be on go time. I thank the clouds when I'm free. This ain't shit that all the homies can be. Running from the lies, slip and get up. Thinking about the bullshit, leading right up. Mama told me one day you run out of luck. Now I'm looking up, quick tail catching up. Born into that trench mind, niggas had no straight mind. Only thing we know is break a bitch and push that bread line. Head be filled with crazy shit like shorty, had my head tied like bitch. So now you ain't coming to me about no bedtime. Ain't no keep it real, I really feel like the pressure is really on me. I know pressure is a bitch, but I don't let feelings control me. I know I've been getting cold and my niggas was flaking on me. So I had to bet some bitches at some parties, but don't blame me for it. Don't blame me for it. I'm too cheap for it. Just watch me going, no breaks. Just keep top speed flying. Bless me, test me, line me up, I know that I'm the next thing. Praying so don't catch me and arrest me. Hope that every night I make it in my best sleep.
Hey y'all, mic check. Can y'all hear me good? Y'all hear me okay? Hey, listen, shout out to everybody watching. I took a mental break from YouTube because I was busy. I'm like so booked out with genealogy work, y'all. Plus my full-time job. So during the day. Matter of fact, let me turn this off now because my phone has a tendency to ring when I'm live. The minute I go live and somebody got a call and got a question. So I just been doing like sister girlfriend told me, shut it off on the week. I have to because it gets really crazy. I love y'all, man. Tony Furlow, St. Louis, King Dandada, Lady Moon, Carlos, hey now, my Lisa baby, Enox. Oh man. Bridget, hey baby girl. Oh, oh. Copper. Hey Copper, I'm gonna send you an email after the show. Oh, let me see who else. Madeira, hey Madeira. Wait a minute, Madeira, why you ain't got no ranch? Let me put you up there. Hey, there you go. Here you go, Madeira. Should be all right. Say hi, my dear, so you see that you got your winch. Queen Ma, I don't know why you don't got one either. Let me add you. Yeah, I got a mod up. Yeah, I took away a lot because people was acting. Hey, there she go. People was acting like real crazy, and all my moderators have so much respect for me. You know what I'm saying? And are very real. They keep it very real. All the lies. Wow, we got 620 people in here already watching live. What is she going to talk about today? The crazy girl. She keeps using that N word. So, yeah, I've been really bogged down, and I get to the point where I have to literally shut my phone off, and I just delete emails because it's just like so unnecessary. And I'm really doing a lot of tribal work in the background, and it could get really overwhelming. When I retire, I'll be able to do it full time and devote my full life to it because there's so much work to be done. And I have agencies contacting me, organizations, not agencies, contacting me to help me a little bit with our tribal stuff where it gets to the point where you really have to reach out for some professional help, and that's what I've been doing, and I think it's going to turn out really great. I think it's going to be great, connecting with other professional businesses. So I've been really, really busy and in so many Zoom meetings you would not believe. For part-time work, I'm really doing full-time work. You can see my eyes are red, but I said, I really gotta get back on here because I want to. I'm standing on our history and the way education is going. I want to be a huge and part of that. So I'm damn sure gonna have my neck out there. In South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Oklahoma, when they have um these different things coming up regarding education, because President Trump is dismantling the education department at the federal level and pushing it to the states. So I want to be very active in the education part, and I'm serious, and I'm so glad that with my state experience, I know how to maneuver and get involved in those areas because those are the areas where our lands are, okay, as a tribe. And so I'm going to be really, really, really busy to the point where I'm just not even going to be answering my phone. As a matter of fact, I have to actually get a new tribal phone for tribal business only, where it'll only be active Monday through Friday, reasonable hours of the day, and part-time hours from like, maybe we'll go like 4 to 8, where I'll be available because I got to cut down. I can't keep answering the phone. And people want to. I love our history, but people have to understand that you have a personal life and you want to rest when you get off work. But I understand them, and I know they're excited, and they mean no harm. But to call you in the middle of resting and want to tell you about their family history, it's just so it can get overwhelming after a while when you continuously pick the phone up and say, hey sister, and I know they mean love and mean well, but I can't. I'm just one person, and I love to hear stories. So maybe in the future we can have those type of meetings where you know people find interesting things about their history and their family history. Maybe we can have that because we do have some sisters in our tribe that are very interested in talking about those things. So I'll probably push it in another area, and they can have those meetings, which because a lot of times our people just want you to listen, and that's a fact. And we need to listen to our people because they're just excited. That's all. And they're like we were when we got deep into our history. And like, wow, this is such a good feeling to know that North America mainland is my land. It's where I came from. I didn't come here on a slave ship as we were taught in school. So you get excited and you get to release those feelings that you've been holding back in you when you didn't connect with another landmass where people are that are foreigners are trying to tell you where they came from, and that these people brought you these horrible lying stories. So it feels good when you say, wow, and it makes you want to cry because it's like I've been on my own land the whole time, my life, and I've spent so much of my life trying so hard to connect to these people in Africa. Not that I dislike them or anything, but I don't connect with them. I don't know these people, and it's not our culture. And I get it. You're already home. You are already home. So I get we need to have those kinds of conversations in Zoom because our people want us to hear their voices and show their excitement of all the information that they're finding and the conversations they're having with their family about, no, we ain't from Africa, or no, we Indians. It's just a truly withheld identity. You know, I always think about the Pequots when it comes to what was done to them, because the exact same thing that was done to them was done to us. And the only thing that we didn't do is what the Pequots did. They went back and they were literally erased from history, and it's written. And you have to understand that's the same thing that was done to you. Whatever tribe, you were erased from history, totally dismantled. So the Pequots came back and reestablished themselves on the main lands of where they originated from. And we're already here on the mainlands from where we originated from. A lot of thousands of us. We weren't shipped out to, the Caribbean islands and other areas. We were not unwillingly and dragged out of here in chains or dragged in here in chains. So, our people are waking up in the thousands and thousands, and they want to know what to do, and they don't realize how simple it is. They think it's a hard task, and it's really not. It's a very civil thing to do. It's a very civil thing to do, to stand on who you are, rather than all these different labels that society has given to you. And they don't have a right to do that to you. They don't have a right. Okay? We're not subjects of the United States. We're citizens within this business, this United States. Okay? So that being said, hey, Tress, more people came in. Hey, Copper, hey. And, I love y'all. Hey, CME. So we got a really great crowd attending this year's cookout in South Carolina. I'm so excited. I can't wait, because I love to eat fish, y'all. And my sister-in-law is coming, and they're going to help me fry up that fish. We have an Airbnb already reserved, so we'll be doing a lot of cooking this time in the house instead of in the hotel like we did last time. Oh, I would never do that again. The Airbnb is what's up. It's a beautiful 8 bedrooms, because we got a couple of people to join in with us to reserve it. So it's really going to be great. Even the owner of the Airbnb is so excited for it. She said, wow, that's like really so cool, because you're not far from where your land is, and really nice lady. So I've been in great communications with her, doing a lot of great things. So today I have, I'm back. I feel rested. My eyes are a little red. I've been getting some sleep. I've been losing a lot of sleep lately, but I've really caught up on a lot of sleep. I'm still trying to look young, y'all. Because Willie's, hating on these Asian men that have fallen in love with me, and he got an issue with it, and that's not my problem, Wing Lu love me, and that it is what it is. I can't help if Asian men think I'm beautiful. And that's just, it is what it is. They think I'm beautiful and they think I look like them, and I believe I do. So I can't help it if Asian men love me. Get over it, Willie, because you don't say nothing when Janet Jackson pop out and all these other girls pop out, and so now you see Asian men from another country. So in case I ever have to run from the United States, I'm just gonna have to go ahead on to either Japan or China and duck out. So y'all stop hating on my Asian men. All right. All right. So anyway, I really want to get into what I want to get into today is really cool. And um I can't express the importance of standing on who you are once you learn, because we were traumatized as a people when it comes to what we are able to do on our land and not do on land by foreigners and including our own people. See, you leave out, hey, Cosmon, we leave out a lot of things and clues, and our history is in front of us. And, you know, not all of our people are skillful in researching and dissecting and understanding things and pointing out particular things that really make a lot of sense to show that you were there the whole time. You just didn't know it. It's been erased from you. Things were done to you mentally, and you got to understand it. One of the first things, and I told you, why it's important to protect our identity. Tonto, remember the Long Ranger? The Long Ranger. That's why I put this up. This came out in 1949. This came out in what you call the boomer generation, 1949. My mother was literally 1 year old when the Long Ranger came out and aired on TV. Okay? You got to know what was done. Okay? Mom being born in 1949 puts her in the boomer generation. My mom was born in 1948. But this Tonto guy came out on TV. This is a Hollywood Indian. Okay? And what you have to understand, people, this is not the Indian that the United States was dealing with. This is not the Indian of the Civil War. This is not the Indian of Reconstruction. Okay? Tonto is a fictional character. Look it up. This is a Hollywood character to brainwash you. Is all a part of making you forget. So society back then, they wanted to erase your past. That's a lot to do with the dismantling and erasing you from history. So they put Tonto in here because if they had to put you would know who you were. So they put Tonto in front of your face. This is not who was running slaves in the South. Sorry. That's a fictional character. That's in 1949. That is boomer generation. The generation prior to that, being 1931, that's the silent generation. That's what they call it, the silent generation. My granny, born in 1931, is from the silent generation. Okay, this is Tonto, boomer generation. But the beautiful thing about the boomer generation is that they know they're Indians. You call my mom, she gonna tell you she already knows she Indian. And they are not ever. Boomers do not tell you that they came from Africa on slave ships. They don't. They literally don't. The boomers will tell you, no, my mom said, my grandpa said we Indian and da 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 da. Only when you ask them. It wasn't a conversation that the boomers continuously had, but they knew this. Boomers knew this. Definitely the silent generation being 1931. Okay. So Tonto is fake. Now that's boomer generation. Now we're in 1977, and here they come with the slave chain story, Kunta Kinte. We know this is a fake, fictional character made up by the guy that originally wrote the book and Alex Haley lied. This is a fake story, but it was engraved in our minds. But we knew we didn't connect with that. We before this Kunta Kinte character came out, we was already seeing commercials of little black children in Africa starving with big bellies, with the bug on the face to make you feel sad. We saw those very disturbing commercials. That's Amistad, another fake story in Connecticut. Amistad, that's some bullshit. But give us free Cosmon. I hear you, bro. Yeah, you know that's some fake stuff. Give us be free, the Amistad, putting that all in your head. Those was Haitians. To keep it a buck, that Amistad shit, and that you should see the ship. Go look at the Amistad ship in Connecticut, and you tell me how that damn, it's not even a ship, it's a sailboat. Look in Connecticut, historical pictures, and explain to me how that boat made it from Africa to Connecticut, my home state of birth. That's the very hilarious part. I was just seeing if I had that in here. No, I took it out. But that's just like hilarious. The hilarious story. Those were Haitians, and the Haitians broke loose and beat the shit out of those dudes on that ship, by the way. So they're not telling you the truth about that story. It's a fake story. So now Kunta Kinte, 1977 is when the movie Roots came out, and this is what it was. We were very disturbed as children when we saw this movie, especially when they caught this kid in chains, trying to make it insinuate that this is how the white guy brought us here, which is a damn lie. If I was white people, a lot of white people are livid about that shit because they know it's not true, and they don't like that, and it's wrong. 1977 is what was instilled in Generation X, which is my generation. In 1977, I was literally 10 years old when this movie came out and watched it and was very traumatized and sad. So what they did to boomers, because back then in 1949 in Hollywood, it wasn't really no black actors. They didn't want black folks on the screen. I'm using modern day language. They made up a goddamn Indian and threw him on the screen. I guarantee you, this is not the Indian that fought in the Civil War. This is not the Indian that went on the Trail of Tears. This is not the Indian that the United States Constitution speaks about. And you got to know that and stand on it. Kunta Kinte, fake character. It's so fake. Then the story, it's a fictional character. Kunta Kinte is a fictional character. Made up. And this is what they did to Gen X. That's my generation. I was a little girl. I'm a Generation X baby. Fake ass story. And him running away, talking about he running away back to Africa, and he down south some damn where, and he gonna run away on foot. Okay, and then they chopped his foot off. That's bullshit. That's just a fake story. If you running, how the hell you gonna know where to go? If you from Africa and you've been in chains under your master and you running away on foot, how do you know where to go? How do you know how to get back to Africa if that's where you came from? It's a fake story. Chopping the foot off. Now let me tell you something. Foot's by niggas get their foots chopped off, they do. But the only reason niggas get their foots chopped off here in the United States is because their ass got diabetes and they got gangrene. That's the only way Lil Pookie and Ray Ray foot getting chopped off, because of diabetes, all right? Not because they was running. Diabetes. Yep, that's how Pookie and Ray Ray get their foots chopped off. Not from being runaway slaves today. So I really want you to look at these years. This is how you were removed from what you from who you were. This is all plays into the erasure of your dismantled tribe and your identification as a people. Pan-Africans are an all-time joke. Okay? It's a joke. That conversation is now corny in YouTube. It really is. When you hear Pan-African stories, it's funny. It's hilarious now. Because now that's the fake history, Pan-Africanism. Their story about our history. That is a fake fictional story. Their whole setup. And because of the more they look into who they really are over here, the more embarrassed they are about admitting the fact of who they truly are, because their information now can never debunk what's really over here. And we're going to go through a little of that today. So my segment today is to get your mindset back right. Everything has a correctiveness to it. Your thought process, your ability to be able to correctly understand things and look at things from a very different perspective. And this is not no voodoo magic. This is reality. What we're going to be talking about today. Reality. And again, to my colleagues listening, at some point in this lecturing today, I will vibe with my community. Okay? Like I told y'all before. And they're even acting like us in Congress. Like the Jasmine guy, the fake, acting she puts on. Y'all, you know what, girl? That's to get the attention of our people to take more interest into politics. So they got the Jasmine guy. They pay her to do that. The Jasmine, well, her name ain't Jasmine Guy. Jasmine, whatever her last name is, that Senator, her and Margaret Green acting, it's all an act. And that's because they're watching our channels and they're seeing how to connect with our people. I mean, if you're not acting like that, if Jasmine Crockett is not acting like that in Congress with her address, even though she's a Democrat, I'm not a Democrat. But like I said, by the time she turned 50, she's going to be one of the baddest ass Republicans walking around on DC grounds. But she's probably already there in the mindset. She'll get there because I was there when she was, but I'll never be a fool for a damn Democrat again. But anyway, so colleagues, bear with me with my word usage. It's not going to be like I'm working at work, because I'm not. This is my personal time. This is my job. All right. So we have Boomer generation on the left, and we have Generation X, me, on the right. I was given the Kuta Kinte, but I ain't buy it when I was little, because I knew, Granny was there. Granny was there watching this movie. All 50 states was watching this movie with Granny and Mommy and Grandpa when it came out. And Granny and Grandpa said it straight. Wait a minute, nigga, you ain't come from no damn Africa. How the hell we come from Africa? We are laying down south. You know how our parents are. We farmed on our land. What the hell you talking about? That's grandpa. What the hell you talking about? I'm Choctaw. I don't know what the hell you talking about. I'm Chickasaw. I ain't got shit to do. And then they sing those little songs, sing those little southern songs. How much chuck with the wood chuck and the wood chuck wood. How much cup the wood chuck and the wood chuck wood. Oh yeah, grandpa was in that. Hambo, where you been? Mama said they did that in the army and everything. So that was Indian right there talk. How much wood chuck wood. That was grandpa. So I know everybody remember this as a 70s kid. And that's a fact. Hambo, where you been? Come on now. And then the Indian cry my grandpa used to do. I can't do it no more because I smoke, but he had it down pat. I can't do that shit. He did it, but he mastered it. It was called the Indian war cry. It was crazy to hear him say that, but he would do it only he had to be drunk to do it. Because then my grandmother got on my grandmother's nose. She'd be like, "John, shut that shit up." I would be dying. We would be laughing because we just thought it was exciting. But that was all Indian stuff. So it is what it is. So this is what they did to Boomer, 1949, and they followed through. And then my generation, 1977. And guess who comes after us? The Generation X. The millennials. The Y generation. It's the one thing I told you, I love millennials unconditionally. My baby's a millennial. But the one thing about the millennials, they want to know why. Why and why not? What? Why? Because their view of society is totally different from 1977 and 1949. They are beasts. I don't care what race you are in the millennial generation. They are beasts. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They're smart. They're like 20 years ahead of their time and with their mindsets. And that's why these millennials are dating women my age. My daughter is a millennial. She's 33 this year. And they date men my age. For real, because they're so wise ahead of their head. And the millennial boys too. They date women 10 and 15 years older than them because they're so wise. They're just grown as hell. And they're like so far ahead in thought. And that's a fact. You got 33-year-old young men, my daughter's age, literally dating 50-year-old women because they holding it down. And that's a fact. Now, when I was little in 77, it was a problem if a man said something to me that's my mother's age. Oh, you such and such daughter. Look at you, shaped like your mama. And I had a bad mouth because I felt the disgust in that type of compliment to me. Look at you growing up, looking like your mom. You shaped like and everything. Turn around. No, I had a bad mouth because I was Andre's daughter. It disgusts me. And men would tell and women would tell my mother on me because I would cuss them out. I was like, you old effing, you did every other effing word. And then they look with eyes of surprise. I'm going to tell your mom. I said, well, make sure you tell her what you said to me. I didn't like that shit because they was weird and they were creepy. I just couldn't stand them. And I still can't today. So I had a problem with that. So I can imagine how it was down south on the farms when them looking at you and shit. Seeing if you one of them little fast girls that will do it with an older. No, hell, that wasn't me. My father taught me to grab balls, squish them motherfuckers until they scream higher than who's the latest singer, higher than Patti LaBelle. Oh yeah. And then he said, then you call me. You had to. Old ass creepy men, my mama age ilk. Even to this day, I think they're disgusting. I will never sleep with a boomer. Sorry. Turn off for me. Ilk. Go do it with my mother. You're disgusting. That's just my attitude. Sorry. I don't like no old ass man. Because I'm Gen X. Anyway, this is the picture of what they did. They exchanged our people for the Tonto looking people. I'm like, get your ass out of here. We know the Tonto people. These people are not the people that the U.S. Constitution spoke about. Hell no. These are the Tonto people. Get your ass out of here. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say they're not Indians, but they damn sure ain't Indians from South Carolina and all this shit. These fools came in from the border. Now, there's Indians in Central and South America, yes, that are indigenous to the land, and these, they happen to look like this, a lot of them. But you're not going to bring them in on the mainland through the border and say, okay, these are the Indians we talking about in the country. No, the hell they not. None of these fools was at Betty Jean's cookout in South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida. Hell no, get out of here. They was not at the cookouts. They was not in the Civil War. They was not the Indians that Andrew Jackson was talking about. We're going to get into that. So you have a better look and perspective of and understanding, saying, okay, now I see this shit is very real. Our history is very real. So let's get into it. So one of the first things that I want to bring you to, that we need to go to, is how all this went down and how it keys in, you know, and how all this factors in, and how you can understand your history even more. There's so much about our history that you do lose sleep because you learn so much and your head gets clogged and you go to sleep, and then you begin to have dreams about ancestors you've never seen before. That's how it's kind of like the movie. I forgot that movie. I'll have to think of it later. But when the more you read your history, the more your ancestors come to you in a dream. They do, because the blood is still here. Blood never dies. It keeps going. I'm sorry. Them ancestors come in your dreams, and you be sitting down watching them, and you be remembering these people, and that's a fact. Oh, Cosman, thank you. This is a fact. So when you begin to start having these dreams, pay attention to those dreams. Write them down, because you're going to hear conversations that already took place. You're just in a dream watching it again. That blood wakes up in that dream, right in that very dream. Write it down, because you're going to be having conversations, and you're going to be what I noticed, that when you start dreaming about your ancestors, you're always a little girl or a little boy in the damn dream. And somebody who has to mind their manners. You can't open your damn mouth. You're going to see that in the dream. These are things to point out. It's like really weird. Like, why am I always a little kid in my dreams? Because that bloodline, that's how you go back. It's just, this is why they made the computers the way they did. Because the computer, they based the computer off the human mind and brain. We have a storage memory. We do. It's called repressed memories. They're being repressed. Every memory you had, it, as the blood keeps going, more and more future generations, the memories become repressed. So those repressed memories have to reveal itself in order because you have so much storage in your head. So when you go in a dream, that's your relief from the repressed memories. You're going to be too busy once you get into your history. You're not going to be have enough time when you're serious about learning about your history. You're not going to have time to be fighting some other chick about a man you love. You begin to get interested in more important things. You're not going to have time for debating. You don't need to debate. Your job is to get your story right. That's on you, not nobody else. Your stories in your bloodline. Your stories come to you in dreams. Those repressed memories ain't no joke. That's what deja vu's all about. Didn't I have this comment? Yes, you did, because you was there before. And it could have happened thousands of years ago. Everybody has their own interpretation of deja vu. But let me tell you something. That shit is real. Yes, you did have that conversation, but when? Was it in year 1000? Could have been. Was it in year 2000, 1870 something? Yes. Yes, it's true. Understanding deja vu is part of understanding your body. And you need to understand it. That happens for a reason. But we just let it go. Oh, it's just deja vu. No, that's very important. Because you were there and you did have that conversation in front of them people that you thought you already had. This guy, yes, you did. That's your history. And see, all these medicines that we take have a lot to do with messing with your mind and your healthy bodies. So now let's take it back. Let's take history back to the U.S. Constitution for a minute, because we know that the United States Constitution, it was written. Write this down, y'all. You gotta write it down. Hey, Rodney, baby. Hey, big sister. Elise, baby. Write this down, y'all. Or the next time you do the rewatch, got a screenshot this, write this down, because you can Google all this. The United States Constitution was written in 1787. That's a fact. It was signed on September 17th, 1787. It has been in use since 1789. Now, when I'm reading this, I know we go over this, but the more you go over it, the more your history is revealed to you. So this is important. And your history is always been in front of you, and you're going to learn that when you move yourself away from people that keep trying to say they're going to do something and don't do nothing. And they want to organize something and do this, and we should do that. We should do this. I've been hearing that shit for years. I'm already doing what I'm supposed to do. You do what you're supposed to do. You don't need to get no damn group and organization to do shit. Your history is on you. That's your education. Your real fight is with the Department of Education, not the brother and sister on YouTube that look like you. Your fight, because this shit's now being pushed to the 50 states. I don't blame Trump. Yeah, y'all need to get this shit right with them damn Indians about this history. I keep telling y'all, when you update all your paperwork and when you're doing the census, you better select American Indian, because black is going to disappear. And all that's going to be left there is African American. And that's for those African Americans from Africa. And that's a fact. Fact. Now, so we know this was written in 1787. And guess what? In 1787, in Article 2, Indians not taxed was written in there. Think about that. You're in 1787. Indians not taxed was written in there. This is 1787. Now think about this, y'all. The United States Constitution was written in 1787. Also, understand that we had, I'll use modern day language as they did in my state, which is wrong. They had black governors in my state who were supposed to be these beaten up slaves. Slavery is nothing but employment, work. That's all it is. We get this. In my state, they put language that was not used back during that time in this. Betty was thought to be an Indian. Well, girl, they both was. You is not gonna be no African from Africa coming over here being no damn governor. Not in Connecticut. Oh, hell no. All right. 1787. There was a system, a governmental system in a colonial state where Indians were still in Connecticut. And he also acted as a mediator between the black and white communities. How about that? Black and white communities. Not black and Mongoloid communities, not black and Asian communities, not black and Puerto Rican communities, not black and Jamaican communities, black and white communities. In 1755, let's get it. Do not play with me today. Black and white communities. If Tonto was in Connecticut, where does he fall under? The black community, the white community. Don't play with me. He didn't exist. That's Hollywood. Don't get Hollywood twisted with factual stories, factual parts of our history. I'm not playing. All right. So we're in 1787. Constitution. And in that Constitution, Indian not tax was written. And it wasn't, these guys were nowhere around when the Constitution was written. Can you give me fire so you can clearly understand that in 1787, these dudes were not around when the Constitution was being formed on the mainland. And these are not the Indians that, no. Back to South America or Central America. Sir, please, I need to make sure you understand that 30 years prior to this written constitution, we had black governors in Connecticut and in other areas of the United States. I'm not playing with Umar Johnson's monkey ass. I'm just not. I'm not playing with anybody. Before the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation did not provide a general process for admitting new states. Okay? Because prior to this, you had just the 13 colonial states, little areas. The 13 colonial states were just like 13 municipalities. They weren't a whole 13 states. The colonizers only had like a municipality, not the whole entire state. That came about when the states started expanding and the Indians were forced assimilated. Then that's the admission clause when that started taking place. We're getting there. Again, before the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation did not provide a general process for admitting new states. The Northwest Ordinance of 1787 established a process for admitting new states from federal territory. Because it wasn't state territory, it was federal territory, because the government took over the Indian land forcefully. So the Northwest Ordinance of 1787 established a process for admitting new states from federal territory. When you're talking federal territory, they got the militia to claim that as federal territory, even though it's Indian territory. But when it got conquered, it became federal territory. I need ones if you're with me. The Constitution's admission clause is found in Article 4, Section 3. The clause was written to allow new states to join the Union on equal footing with the original state. So now the original states are even listed in the Constitution. It was only 13 colonial municipalities. So like in Connecticut, let's just use an example. Connecticut. Hartford was a state by itself. All the other new towns and municipalities were not. But there was something that was done and that took place so that all those other municipalities, which was Indian lands, because that was what was outside the colonial municipality, aka state, the Indian lands, which are now in this thing federal territory. The clause was written to allow new states to join the Union on equal footing with the original states, and it gave a distinct process on what needed to be accomplished to become a whole damn state. The clause, it also prevents new states from being formed from existing states without the consent of the existing state and Congress. Okay? So the state and the federal government had to give consent. Now, people is like, well, what the hell? A lot of our people are like, what the hell is a new what is the Northwest Ordinance? The Northwest Ordinance of 1787 established the government for the Northwest Territory, which included the future states, because they weren't states yet. These were future states of Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, and part of Minnesota. It also outlined a process for admitting new states to the Union. And what did it do? It banned slavery in the Northwest Territory, because territory is Indian territory. When you hear territory, you're talking Indian land. Guaranteed religious and civil freedom. Established a method for public education. Guaranteed tribal land rights. And guess what else it did? Directed that the utmost good faith be observed towards Indians. Hey, wait, really? Towards Indians. Now, answer me. In 1787, where it states, directed that the utmost good faith be observed towards Indians, and also guaranteed tribal land rights. So now, answer this question, yes or no. Were these the Indians in 1787 that where it states that it would guarantee tribal land rights, and are these the Indians where it states that it would guarantee tribal land rights, directed that the utmost good faith be observed towards Indians? Are these the Indians on the mainland? Yes or no? We're talking 1787. I guarantee you, these dudes dressed like this were not slave masters in any of the Confederate states. Sylvia, what? Yes. Okay, I need Sylvia and Copper Aborigines prove to me that these are the Indians that were around in 1787. In 1787, when the Constitution was made, and the United States guaranteed them. These were not the Indians in 1787. Can you please write in the chat, Copper Aborigines? What the hell is you talking about? The Indians in these were not the Indians in 1787. Oh, okay. I'm glad you fixed your answer, Copper. He said, oh, hell no. They wasn't even in the land. And right, correct. Exactly. I think Sylvia probably meant the same thing, too. Facts, big sister. Right. These were not the Indians during the Civil War. Sylvia. These are not the Indians during the Civil War, but that's way later, after 1787. So let's so now we know what the Northwest what is it? The Northwest Ordinance was. That was in 1787 too. So that was the Northwest Ordinance. Now, we're in 1787. 30 years prior to that, we had governors. We had a black governor and a white governor in our state. In Connecticut, we had black governors and white governors. Why was there no none of these dudes were any governors during Reconstruction? Can you give me a one? I just want to make sure you guys are on the same page. These guys had nothing to do with Reconstruction on the mainland in 1860. But we're not going to jump that far yet. But please, could you confirm that these are not the Reconstruction Indians? And thank you. During the Reconstruction. So let's back it up a little bit to our boy Andrew. So now we're in 1787. Right? So now 1787. Hang on, I'm just stepping away. 1787. Okay, 1830. 43 years after 1787, the Constitution written, blah, blah, blah. Right? Shit ain't going right on the land with the Indians and the colonizers with their little municipalities. You know, they got just a little municipality in 1787. Like, literally, each state has many towns or cities. So they either had a city or a municipality. That was it. And that was considered their state, their colonial state. But it was only 13 of them. Remember that. 13 colonial municipalities. If you put that picture in your head, like if I go to the city of Hartford, that's the municipality. That's all the land they had. They didn't have the whole state of Connecticut. So now let's get it. So now you got that in your head. So now that's in 1787. They got their little 13 municipalities, I'm going to call them, because that's how little they were, that little portion of land compared to a whole state. And now this is 1787. Shit ain't going right. They getting tired. Tired, right? Tired of living near these damn engines. So we get Andrew Jackson. As a boy in 1770s, Jackson had listened to stories of Indian violence towards settlers, and with no apparent understanding of their motives, he developed prejudices that he, like many Americans of this day, held throughout his life. Just telling you this about President Andrew Jackson. He routinely called Indians savages. Today, when a person of another race call us names, yeah, savages, also niggas. Same stuff. He routinely called Indians savages and people of mixed heritage half-breeds. And he was unshakable in his conviction that Indians should be removed from the South. He was already pissed. Here he is in the North, all right, in D.C., telling people, he was unshakable in his convictions that Indians should be removed from the South. So they already did the shit to the North, the Pequots and stuff. So now his ass on the Southern Indians. When news that the Red Sticks were attacking settlers reached him in Nashville, okay, he was in Nashville, Tennessee, he asked, is a citizen of the United States to remain under the barbarous lash of cruel, unrelenting savages? They was tired. Now I'm gonna use modern day language. They was tired of getting their ass whipped by them niggas in the hoods and wherever they was. And he was complaining. He said, why we gotta be living like this? They beating our ass, we fighting them, and da-da-da. I'm tired of living with these savages. Cause y'all know how we are today. White people don't even walk in our communities during the day unless they're escorted by a damn militia force. Nervous as hell. They lock their doors. They still do that today when they walk by us savages. Soon as black people walk in the store, it don't matter if you 10 years old or if you're 100 years old. They're going to watch you. They start holding their purse when our men walk by them. Pookie be having like 3 G's in his pocket, but still, they're going to hold their purse. When nigga walk, that's the same thing with Andrew Jackson. Why we gotta be living next to? Yo, I'm not lying about this. You gotta put shit from back then to today. It's the same shit today. You go in the store, they looking for all the black people stealing. But here's the thing: black people and white people get along. So the unusual suspect is gonna go steal the damn steak. The white person, dummy, because the white person's innocent going in the store to steal the steaks and the roll of cookie dough and the biscuits. You're watching the black guy, but the white guy's doing it for the black guy. We're together, they're a team. You forgot black people and white people was friends, and they still are. So they play y'all's game. You think the white guy's innocent in the store. He's not going to steal. He's the less usual suspect. He has a decent job, and he's raised with great morals. Well, guess what? Little Buster, that's what I'm calling him. Uncle Bucky's nephew. That's what I'll call him. Because Uncle Bucky's the guy in the suburbs that sell the guns to little Pookie and Ray Ray in the hood. And his grandson often comes back and forth. And see, you, because little Uncle Buster's nephew, who happens to be white, can go in the gun store and buy a gun. He's at least he gonna get rich selling them guns to Pookie and them. And when they go in the store, I know him. He's Buster's nephew. Good, great kid. Yeah, but guess what? He's in the grocery store with Pookie. So they're gonna watch Pookie. They're not gonna watch Uncle Buster's grandson. Okay, who's young? He in there racking up on the steaks. And then he meet Pookie in the parking lot. Yo, you ready? Let's go. They playing y'all too. And they always have. Because they know how you are. Because Bucky's nephew is white. And he happens to like Pookie because Pookie cool. He's nothing like what his grandparents and mother and father said about him. Just a little nigga from the hood. Nigga. I don't want you hanging around him. And that's the best friend your nephew ever had. So that's why he in the grocery store stealing. Because he said, Poop, man, when we get home, I want you to put them damn things on the grill. Yeah, Aunt Bernadine home, yeah, he stole them. Uncle Buster's nephew. So that's the same shit that Andrew Jackson is speaking on. It's just from an earlier time. I just modernized it. They still act like this towards us in the office where we work, and no matter what, we will always be savages, even if we what you call good Christian. In their eyes, because they were indoctrinated by their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents about us, they're still like this in the workplace today. Again, as a boy in 1770s, Jackson, that we're talking about Andrew Jackson, president, had listened to stories of Indian violence towards settlers. What was the settlers doing? They doing the same shit that white cops do to black guys who don't even know their history, good going church boys. Same shit, different time. So Jackson, and he listened to stories of Indian violence towards settlers. We're going to say white people because it's just black and white people. I'm using modern day language. And with no apparent understanding of their motives, he developed prejudices that, like many Americans do to this day, it is true. Held throughout his life, he routinely called Indians savages and a bunch of mixed breed, a half-breed, and was unshakable in his conviction of Indians. Unshakable, like he didn't give a damn what he said. And he meant that shit. He wanted them removed from the South. That was in 1770. He had that on his mind. Andrew Jackson had this on his mind. 1770. 60 years. For 60 years until 1830. When they had enough. Let's talk about that. This was Andrew Jackson's bad attitude about Pookie and Ray Ray. I'm just saying modern day language so you understand the story. He had that attitude in 1770s. Finally, in 1830, he did exactly what he said he wanted to do. Let's get it. Read, y'all. In 1830, what did he do when he became president? Let's get it, y'all. In 1830, just a year after taking office, Jackson pushed a new piece of legislation called the Indian Removal Act through both houses of Congress. It gave the president power to negotiate removal treaties with Indian tribes living east of the Mississippi River. Under these treaties, the Indians were to give up their lands east of the Mississippi in exchange for lands to the west. Now, that was in 1830. Andrew was on a mission. Those wishing to remain in the east would become citizens of their home state. Now, see, by 1830, most of the states were admitted to the Union. This act, those wishing to remain in the East would become citizens of their home state. Citizens of their home state. So basically, what this is saying, I'm going to put it in ghetto words so my community understands this. Them damn nigga Indians wishing to remain in the East, y'all gonna become citizens wherever the hell your ass is at. Because you don't want to go to Oklahoma. So we trying to reconstruct this, get this place right into a civil living manner. So if you would want to take your ass to Oklahoma, guess what? Wherever you're at, you're going to become a citizen of your home state. So wherever your family's land was, they could have had like 200 damn acres of farmland. Now, you don't want to go to Oklahoma and give up your land, farmland, and go to Oklahoma. You're going to be a citizen. And guess what comes with being a citizen? You're going to be paying taxes later on. Fraudulent. You cannot tax Indians. It says it in the Constitution, but they did anyway. Who were the Indians that remained? I dare you to tell me that these was the damn Indians that remained in their home state in the South. I dare you. Because then if you're saying that, then you're saying they were our slaves masters, and I could tell you a damn lie. Didn't happen. Nope. These was not the dudes. Not playing. Those wishing to remain would become citizens of their home state. If you didn't take your butt to Oklahoma, that's what they did to the niggas in 1830. So this is in 1830. So now in 1860, guess what happens? Because some Indians was not trying to conform to the United States Constitution as citizens, because they was Indians. It didn't say, it said nothing in here. Those wishing to remain in the East would become citizens of their home state. But it don't say, you're going to be Indian tax now. And what did they do? Send them tax bills. And what happened when they didn't send them tax bills later on? Them Indians was not cooperating as citizens in their home state, because they wasn't citizens. Nothing was written. It was just a vocal order. This act affected not only the southeastern nations, but many others further north. Yo, it was supposed to be voluntary and peaceful. And it was that way for the tribes that agreed to the conditions. But what about the tribes that didn't agree? What happened? Well, this is what happened. The Civil War. Civil War.
Bless me, test me, line me up, I know that I'm the next thing. Praying so don't catch.
Civil War is what happened. And I'm like, wait a minute. Where are these brown people come that was in the Civil War fighting? Why are they fighting in the war? Ain't they slaves? Yeah, they were former slaves to their families, who were their Indian chiefs and all that stuff. So now we go back to, hold up, y'all. Just give me, hold up now, hold on. Because this is now we in 1860, because the Indians was not cooperating. It took them how many years to get these Indians civilized? From 1830 It took them 30 years. Now, 1830 all the way up to 1860. It took a long time for them to get all the Indians across these 50 states here to cooperate. So it became a civil war because they wanted to run the land differently. They wanted to run shit differently on the land. Remember, they only had 13 colonies, but now, how did they hell did they get 50 states and all these soldiers? Don't play with me. They did not ship these dudes in from no damn Africa. They took off their feathers and put on military outfits. The same ones your damn daddy, my daddy, great damn daddy, all of them wore. They took off their little feathers and put on the Indians that remained, that wanted to cooperate. And when you look in this photo, you see them with feathers on. So now, how did all these brown people, where they come from? These Africans fighting using guns? Hell no. These are the Indians that remain. Remember, in my state, in Connecticut, it was just black and white people. So same shit here. All you see in this photo is black and white people. Ain't no pictures painted of Asian people with Asian features. Get the hell out of here. And you know I love Asian culture. But don't put Chinese people in our story. Don't put Japanese people in my story, in our historical story. Don't put the descendants of Chinese, Japanese, Laotians, Cambodians. Don't put them in our history story. They're not here. They didn't exist in this war. It was just us Indians and white colonizers. And so you're like, well, wait a minute. How all the where the Indians go? Where you look at this picture and you're like, where's the Indians that remain? Because society painted a picture in your head through fake movies that you're looking for Tonto in those pictures. You're not gonna find Tonto. When you look in here, in our history, in your reading, you're not going to find Tonto. Some bullshit. Now, you could find a mulatto with more of his white features and then stolen blood. Okay, now you're the Indian. The little dark ones, they're not the Indian. I'm going to deal with you. I know your great grandfather is a Negro now. They done went from being Indians to Negroes, Aboriginals to Negroes. So your granddaddy is Indian. But we're going to deal with you because you got the blood. Now that you have the blood, you can steal the land and work with us. Stolen identity, stolen land. That's how it's done. Not no goddamn Pocahontas, whatever her name is that Trump was talking about ranking on her ass. Nah, that's not the Indian. Talking about she had some Indian blood. Nah, money grip. Get back, get out of here. No Asian. Why? Because Asians didn't even get on the goddamn census until 1890. Chinese people got on in 1890. This is way after Reconstruction. Japanese, 1910. Filipino, Korean, and Hindu, 1920. They asses was not, They butts got on. I gave you the years when they came on the census. Prior to that, it was Pookie, Ray Ray, and the white man. They was dealing This is who they was dealing with. The colonizers. Even had signs up. Motorcycle repair. We had businesses. These famous Indian fighters. Where is the Chinese people, Asian people that they're trying to throw? Where's Tonto at? Come on, y'all. These are Indians. These are our ancestors, famous Indian fighters. Yo, where is Tonto on them damn horse? It was your granddaddy's. We're not going to do this. Indians took off the feathers, put on dresses. They made us dress like mainstream white society. But one Indian was like, "Oh, I'm wearing my shit. I don't care." Sorry, Meta, but this ain't got shit to do with your Incas people over in Central America and Peru and all that. No, we talking about on the mainland. This is why I said, bro, where we split up at. Nah, I don't give a damn about this history. I'm talking about mainland Indians here or where I am. I'm not saying these ain't Indians. They're just in another part of America. I'm talking about these people ain't got shit to do with our Civil War. And again, Sons of Liberty had to put black soot on their face to fake like they're Indians. Or you got to put dark stuff on your face so you could show that you're on the side of with the Indians and dress like them. So now we get back to we're at the Civil War, 1860, because the Indians, since 1830, those that remained that was forcibly to become Andrew Jackson. If you don't want to go to Oklahoma and be a part of those treaties, then you're automatically going to become a citizen wherever your ass live at on landmass. You automatically going to become a citizen. And when you automatically made to be a citizen, you have to abide by that state's laws, policies, regulations, constitution. You were told you a citizen, whether you want to be or not. We got power over you. Your state got jurisdiction over you. Even though Indian not tax is written in that constitution, because you became a citizen of that state. What happened when the local municipality sent you a tax bill? What happened when you didn't pay it? For them grandpa's 200 acres. What happened? Fraudulently taken because you were fraudulently billed taxes. So this is what happened to Indians' land. This is a great picture of how our ancestors lost their land. And after the Civil War, you fled because bombs going off. Bombs are going off. What you gonna do? You gonna flee. So then what did the government say of that state when you fled for your life and your family's life to go run north? What happened? Your 200 acres of farmland became known as unincorporated, abandoned lands. You're fleeing for your life, for refuge from your state, from your 100 acres of farmland. Your families are fleeing because it's a war. And you run. Your own people that look like you was warring against you off your own land. Now, how did that happen? Your own Indian family was coming after your ass and you running, you fleeing. And when you fled, but you scared to go back, bomb was going off, your land became unincorporated, abandoned land, and it became federal territory. So now, how did all these Indians that look like me and you, why would they do that to you? Because they were civilizing things in order to become a state. The Northwest, we just read it, the Northwest gave instructions on how the Northwest Ordinance gave instructions for the process of becoming a full-fledged state. And you go read it. Once you became a citizen of your home state, what Andrew Jackson said, and you didn't want to go to Oklahoma, you became a citizen of your state of residence. We read that. Let me tell you something. Because when prior to the Indian Removal Act, everything was straightened out on how they were going to do that shit. How this was going to play out. And here's what here we go. Let's get it. Let me see. Where did you go? Where did you go, dude? Where did you go? No. Oh, here we go. By 1830, all the states was already admitted. So let me give you the visual of that. I'm going to pull it up. Those wishing to remain in the East would become citizens of their home state. They were talking to the Indians. Oh, you don't want to go to homeland, Oklahoma. So wherever your home is, where you've been living for thousands of years, now we're making this a whole state, and you're going to become a citizen. So now let's get that up. Let me get that up. Let me show you. So you get the visual. Here we go. Let me get it up so I can bring it back to your memory. Boing, boing, boing. Here's how they were able to successfully win the Civil War. But first, shit took place. Here's what I want you to understand. Something took place. Let's look at the admissions process again. 1787, Constitution written. Here's the first 13 little colonial colonies. They had to be ratified. It was ratified in 1787. Here's the 13 colonies. Keep in mind, in each one of these areas that has an official name now, they only had a little municipality in these places. But in order for the entire state to become a state and be called Delaware, instead of some one municipality was called Delaware. But then when they this is the admission, the ratification. All right, we're a state now. Georgia. Okay, here's the 13 colonies, right? It stops at Rhode Island. Now, there was an admission clause that was written in the Constitution. So Vermont had a little municipality, Kentucky, Tennessee, all the remainder of the states. But in order to become a full state, this is in 1791, looking at the dates when they became states, 1791, 96, 1803, all the way down. These are all the remainder of Indian land territories, all the way down to the 50th state, Hawaii, being in 1959. But let me tell you what they had to do to become a state. Let's get it. Number one, back in 1787, The whole admission clause was added. You had to have a constitution. You had to have 3 branches of government. Okay, you had to have you had to have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And you had to have a constitution that was not in conflict with the U.S. Constitution. Your state had to have a constitution. And you had to have a militia. So in our state, we have the National Guards, we have all that. You had to have militias. Then in the local municipalities, you had to have police officers. Okay? Now, remember, once they, was Reconstruction and stuff, a police officer had to be the age between 16 and 21 years old. So now you got your police force in each municipality. And the state had the governor. The governor got his National Guards and all that. You had a whole militia in that state, meaning you had control of that state. Because these same people was coming for you when you didn't pay your damn tax bills to take your ass off your land. And yeah, now you get it in each of the 50 states. They had to have that. So how you were being removed, you were seeing officers that looked like you that joined the Union. And there was Indians that joined the Union. They became the police officers of their local municipalities. They wanted to make a land where it was civil in each state. So now, when you take all of the police officers in all the different municipalities, then you got the what we call the state police and the National Guards, right? And you got that set up in all 50 states. That's your army. And you still got people registered directly for the army and not cops of their local municipality. You got the federal government. The president of the United States is over. He's chief and commander of the armed forces. And people from different states, no matter what the zip code is, registered to become in the military. So when they got these states intact and they got these specific organizations set up in order to be admitted, you had to have all that shit done before you could be admitted as a state. Because the government wanted to look, do you got control of your state? Do you have a executive branch, a legislative branch, a judicial branch? Do you have local police officers? Do you have National Guards or whatever? All right, you admitted as a state. You will now be the state of Connecticut. Now, this is all in the 1700s when this shit was established and done. Now, we got all the 50 states intact. So now, Indians is acting up. Okay, they still wilding. All right, they beating up foreigners when they come on and encroach on their land. They beating them up. So now what happens? Y'all Indians ain't gonna act right. So guess what? Here we go. And there's the same militia that look like you. Give me fire if you understand this. This is the militia that looked like you, that came for you and told you to get off your land because you didn't pay your damn tax dollars. So you out of here, Indian. Go move in the inner city. Get out. Burn out. Bye. We taking your land. Give me a fire if you understand this. This is how we became part of the system. You joined the militia when you were between the ages of 16 and 21. So you have the blue, which is Democrat, against the red, which is Confederate states. Black and white people. I'm glad you understand. So that's how it happened. Because here's the result. What do you got? How come an Asian man is not walking around here looking at, boy, they really fucked us up? Where's the little Asian people? That, and this is not to make fun of Asians because I love Asians. I told Willie I'm leaving him for an Asian man anyway. He already know. He ain't with it either. But this is what South Carolina, all the lands look like after the war. There you go. Can't make it up. Where are these people? Why are these people not walking around in the South where this war took place? Where are these dudes at? Shouldn't they be walking around somewhere down South? Hell no. I know my family. You know your family. Everybody got a Pookie and Ray Ray in their family. And ain't no way in the hell you're going to have 100 slaves on your land and they got these one-shot musket guns that only shoot one damn bullet and control 100 niggas. You can't even control two without having like 60 COs hold them down. The boom squad in prison. So how? Come on now. These guys ain't no tall. I'm taller than they ass, and I'm 5'2". How you gonna control? Man, you can't do it. Mm-mm. How are they gonna control? Look at our ancestors. You think they're gonna control our ancestors? Here's our ancestors in the war. Picture them beating up Big Meech and y'all gonna stop fighting over me, Big Meech and 50 Cent, because they had beef now and they fighting over me. I told them I don't want neither one of them now because I done, started going for the Chinese men. So anyway, the same niggas as today is the same ones yesterday. You think them little 4 feet guy is gonna beat up 50 Cent and Big Meech on their 300 acres of land? Get your stinking butt out of here. You seen what them damn Lumbies did to Catfish Cole when the KKK tried to come in Robeson County, North Carolina. Girl, bye. I ain't got time. Ain't nobody got time for this. So I want you to understand how our people was a huge part. You needed us. You couldn't have the Civil War without the Indians because the Indians was the majority on the land. Remember, they only had 13. Think about it now. Put this in your head. Y'all know what one town looked like in your state. You know what one town looks like in your state, right? One little town. Let me get this off. It's my boyfriend, my new one. Go ahead, keep laughing, Willie. He'll be here. Anyway, he's still laughing. Y'all know what one town looks like in your state. I do. We got 169 towns. So now one town was a state during the colonial days. It was considered a full state. One little town. But during that whole admission process thing for them to be actually become a whole state of Connecticut, it took the Indians to make that happen. Because they were the Indians that remained on the land. Some Indians wasn't with that shit. They're like, no, And the Indians that were with it registered to be in the militia and become parts of Congress. And they're still active today. The only funky part is somewhere down the line, they tried to pull a fast one. Okay. And what is her name? They tried to pull a fast one. We the same Indians that remain. But then to try and demolish your history, they threw in Hollywood Tonto and 1 Foot Kuta. That ain't got shit to do with you. So now you're confused. Well, I'm not confused. But the Pan Africans is standing on this, but a lot of them is paid niggas. And a lot of them are Africans portraying to be you. Nah. And then when you don't get down with them, oh, you the worst thing in the world. Nah, I'm not with you, money grip. You are African. You got your proof. Cool. But I'm not with you, bro, because I'm not African. I'm a United States citizen. But I'm also an American Indian, and this is my land. A war break out, I'm killing you, bruh. You come against the United States, you're coming against my land. I'm fighting you. It's to death. My family fought on both sides, Union, just like all of our families. We got the records. We got the records, the war records. We became civilized citizens, and our ancestors said, bump it. They became militia because a lot of stuff was going on. It's not easy living around our people. Wild Indians. I like peace. I don't even like being around people. I'm so serious about my peace. So I can imagine back then why they needed to have a civil war, because it needed to be some civilization. So how are we going to do that? Get a militia so we can handle these fools, because they wild and they crazy. So half of our family was on the side of the Union. The other half was on the Confederate side. My family fought on both sides. But you know what side your family fought on by the record, because it tells you part of service, Union. My dad was a Union soldier. I'm a United States citizen. I don't want to see my people killing each other and going to war. Well, what could we do to civilize them, to help stop? So they built prisons, more prisons, to detain them from killing each other. Right now, it's killing each other. I don't want to live around that. I can't stand it. I like my peace. So what can I do civilly? What protections do I have? If I didn't become a citizen of the United States, I wouldn't have those protections. Do you know that they had to fight? That's what civil rights was all about. We didn't have, our families didn't have the protections. They weren't citizens yet. So it was easy to hang an Indian to hang an Indian and anybody else to hang an Indian, because the colonial states didn't have jurisdiction over the Indians. So if you got hung, you got hung. You wake up in the morning and Uncle Buku is hanging in the damn tree swinging. But that's not to say a white guy did it. Yo, this is what you got to stop doing. Down south, it wasn't a whole bunch of white people like that. It was a bunch of niggas. And we weren't citizens of the United States yet. So you would see Indians hanging in the tree. You call them African Americans today because they messed up our history. But there was Indians. They didn't have rights. Why do you think the whole march with Martin Luther King, we didn't have the rights that we was promised and protections? We didn't have the equal rights, even though it was written in the Constitution. But did your state constitution match the U.S. Constitution? You didn't have, just like today, you still don't have real good representation at the state level. That's why I hate state courts. You're going to find your justice in the federal, because that's who dealt with the Indians, the federal level, federal district courts. States hate your ass because they want your land. So they're always going to rule against you. And these little punk lawyers that look like me in suits and sisters, I represent you, ain't win one goddamn case. Suck, because they on cold. Got to go to federal on your own. You got to take your stuff yourself. So this is what I'm talking about. And I'm going to continue this conversation so you can understand it. Now you visually see the picture. You're like, well, damn. I'm telling you, that Civil War was not Africans fighting down south in the war. That was our ancestors that joined the militias that got the states to be the states they are. Okay? You got to understand that. There's a lot that they did with our ancestors that is not going to click with you until you begin wiping away the Hollywood story you see on TV, because they're both fictional stories, and begin to really understand your history, minus these pan boo boos, doo doos. So now there was so much done to us as a people with the writing us out of history. They did the same thing. We were written out of history, but the Pequots came back and reclaimed themselves and had a conversation with the government. You could do the same thing. They're civilized Indians. The Pequots, they're beautiful people, man. They do a lot for their community. A lot. They help a lot of their community. They don't just help Indians, they help everybody. And that's what it's all about when you become a civilized Indian. Now, there's so much so many fake stories. It is because of this story, these fake ass stories. And our grandmother sat us down. I remember that. It was like 15 of us all in there watching a little, 16-inch black and white TV, or maybe 32-inch by that time, watching Roots. And she schooled us. No, you ain't no damn African. And who the hell is Tonto? All this fictional shit. Get out of here. That's a Hollywood-made Indian. Or he could take his ass to Central or South America some damn where. Okay, you can be Indian on that. But over here was a bunch of us. You're not gonna. You see these signs in the South. Why is the black guy dressed in Indian attire? Yes, because that's what was in the South. Our ancestors, and as well as the North. Don't get it twisted. So now here you go back and you're like, well, you put the story together. Understand, it was just black people, and I'm using modern day language. Black people and white people, nothing to do with no Asians yet, of Asian descent. Now we have a lot of cultures and diversities in our community. But back then, and this is what Trump means when he said, they're overdoing this citizenship thing. There's some bullshit. I'm just using other words than the words Trump used. That's some bullshit. Trump know what he's talking about. The Republicans know, because they were the Confederates. So they know. This is why the Democrats hate them. And I get so sick to my stomach because I was so blind for these damn Democrats, like the beautiful Jasmine Crockett, and didn't realize me fighting so hard for them that I was hurting myself, fighting, being a Democrat, putting people in their place about Democrats, and didn't realize that I was hurting myself until I woke up and smelled the coffee. I said, oh, I got to get out this damn party. I'm doing this to myself. So on my channel, I could talk for 3 hours straight, but I'm going to keep lecturing you until you understand to start getting in them books, not just looking at old stuff. You got to talk with your families, your elders, because this is where you're going to get the truth. Aunt Susie's probably still get drunk, but guess what? A drunk person speaks a sober mind, and she going to tell you, yeah, I know. She know all about it, but they just don't like to talk about it no more. It's that silent generation. But they're going to tell you, you're able to put the pieces together when you come across information on what happened to you. The story that they lied to you about here till you got your white slave master's last name. White people sick of that shit, yo. You didn't get my last name because you was my damn slave. Some of them agreed to it, but here's the real deal, Holyfield. American Indians largely acquired their surnames through forced assimilation policies by the U.S. government, where they were assigned European surnames by Indian agents, often based on translations of their traditional tribal names, clan affiliations, or even simply the names of agents themselves. effectively erasing their original naming practices, which typically consisted of a single descriptive name without a separate surname. This process often occurred during the allotment era when American Indians were required to register their names on official documents. Now, just what is the original naming practice, which consisted of a single descriptive name? We still do it today. They're called nicknames. My daughter's name is Giselle, but I call her Mookie. Why? Because it's descriptive. She got fat cheeks, bullet head. Y'all know dudes walk around the street with bullet heads in our community and we rank on them. Butt sisters. That was a nickname they called me and my sister in our hoods because we had big butts. They was well proportioned. Bad breath. Y'all know everybody in the hood smell like they've been ate some stir-fried boo-boo. So we called them stank breath. That was the name. And the government said, "Now you're not gonna be going to school with these names." And the teacher checking down the list: bad breath, butt sisters, bullet head, monkey face, all these nicknames that our families give us. Coot boot, do-rag, shitty. We had a guy in the community, we called him Shitty because he always smelled like shit. Those are the names that Indians had. So those were a lot of original names. Our family nicknamed us. Moonhead. We call this dude Moon in our hood because his head looked exactly like a damn moon. It was so huge you could see it a mile away. His head was so big. These names were the one descriptive, and it's descriptive. It's not a moonhead. Moonhead is not descriptive. One word descriptive term, moon. Nicknames. They called me in high school. My mama called me Bebby. But when I got in high school, they called me Smurf. Because I always smiled. And to this day, when people see me, it makes me laugh because I know it's somebody from high school. They'd be like, "Smurf, I ain't seen you in long." I'm like, "No, it's Bethy." That was high school. I was 16, and they called me Smurf. Smurfette, Smurf. Y'all know back in the day, we had the belt buckles. I had Smurf written in mine. That was my nickname in high school. Then they called me Dimples because I had deep dimples. All kinds of nicknames. Shorty because I'm 5'2". One word nicknames. You can't have them. So the governor gave us those last names were given by the government, and they have shit to do with what the story the people are teaching you. You got your slave master last name, but in the instant, because they have a different understanding of what slavery was, it was a job. Just like today, Walmart has, how is a slave master going to have 1,000 slaves? Because he owns Walmart and he got 1,000 employees. Same shit. Modern day times. That's how it's done. And some slaves like their bosses, aka masters, and they took on some of their surnames voluntarily. The government gave them to you. But when it came from a working standpoint, our economy was different back then. We had the agricultural system. And they say, "Oh yeah, that's one of Boot Ray's boys right there." Yeah, the slave. That's one of Boot Ray's boys. That's how we talk down south. That's one of Boot Ray's boys right there. They're talking about our slave master. Could have been our father. Yeah, Boot Ray's boy. Yeah, remember we working on a farm together out there down south, and Boot Ray boy, Boot Ray, right? Yeah, that's one of his boys, Johnson boys. We gotta keep you from arguing and killing each other, and you'll have much more respect for your history as a people. You begin to like the United States land. You begin to like it. You haven't been given a reason to like it. Now you will, because now you'll understand that I love it here. I ain't ever going to another country to live. I understand there are a lot of flaws in laws in different state systems that prevent and suppress a specific group of people that have been suppressed for so long. But things have changed. What I'm able to do today, I wouldn't have been able to do back in 1830, 1820, 1700. But today I can. And the arrogance of a lot of our people, I understand fine. I call it arrogance, but if I, am raised to get a job, take up a career, stay out of trouble, I'm cool with that. I don't got to go to church to be a good person and a person that have love in their heart and respect and manners. I get that from my parents because they raised me with morals. So I understood the importance of finishing school. Everybody didn't have the opportunity I have with their moms. They didn't have the family support. I did. So I automatically don't have a problem with doing something civil in the system, getting a job, finding a career, doing something constructive in my life to keep me from wanting to kill my sister in my community, because you have a choice to do that in life or do this. Either get a job and take up a trade, Pookie, or be in the streets and kill one another later over drug territory. I never wanted to be a part of that. Never did drugs, never drank alcohol. So I know I don't want to be a part of that. But I do like reading. I do like law books. I like reading. You know, one of the biggest things that one of the professional agencies recommended to me for our tribe is to start a WIA reading clubs with youngsters in Zoom. They can't be, and you give them gifts when they read. You force you go around and empower little girls and little boys to read. And you tell their moms in the community, you say you're starting a reading team. And these are the great things that I like doing for the community. But to turn off the unprofessional behavior on YouTube and then step back to the professional me. What do I want Why to be famous for? Well, I love reading, and my daughter will tell you that all I did was read. I still do that today with Willie, trying to talk to me, kiss me. I'm like, I'm reading. I love you, but I'm reading. I like to read. So one of the most powerful things, and one of the biggest things in our community, a lot of our people cannot read and comprehend. They were left to the dust. So one of the most powerful things why I want Wyatt to be famous for is starting the reading group at elementary level. Going to be on my team, and we got to give them awards because when kids are empowered, we're empowered, and it makes us do more for them. So I want Wyatt to be famous for, they got to, what is it to be a Wyatt reading club, being Wyatt's reading club. He gets all kinds of gifts for these kids. You read that book? Now who's going to listen to the story? This is where we bring in college kids and get the children to write book reports. I love that because it gets them to influences them to take an interest in reading. A lot of our people don't like to read. They like people to read it to us and explain it. That's not good. That's the yoke that has to be broke. So I want to start that girl power movement and boy power movement reading club. These are this is what it's like to be a tribe and attaching yourself to the community. I goof off on YouTube, but that doesn't mean that that's how I am personally in my life. So I can be judged, but people that know me know me. And I'm real excited about getting ready to do this because it's really going to make our tribe look great. And we'll have a great reputation getting children. I don't give a damn what their zip code is. Because you know what? Kids don't care. If they love to read, guess what you get? And they'll battle each other. Well, I got this gift, so I'm on reading level 20 with Wire Nation. And I got all my awards. What do you have? Give them something civil to argue about. instead of killing each other. So that's one of our goals. Big, big, big time. I love reading. And we must empower our children, young men and women. It doesn't matter what their goddamn zip code is. It's going to be all races of people in that Zoom. So I'm busy. When I tell you I'm busy and I needed a mental break off YouTube, I did. But I'll be here. And I'm going to keep instilling you. So now, today, I hope I gave you a different perspective, an even more in-depth perspective to, understand your history and who the hell was here. And now, here's how you really got your name. This is government records. This is how you really got your name. Stop blaming it all on white people. Leave white people alone, please. Think about yourself. The concern should be you. Serious. Again, get off the white man's butt. It must smell really good because you keep blaming them for every goddamn thing. Now we know that there's prejudices and things of that nature, but listen to me carefully. Our Indian ancestors had a lot to do with you either correcting your life or live a rejectful lifestyle. Oh, yeah. We're going to get into another topic tomorrow, but I really want you guys to listen. I've been going for 2 hours. I really want you to rewind this back, or look at what I was showing you, understanding your history, because I'm going to come to you many ways for you to understand your history. I'm going to knock that African out because Africans know they ain't even Africans. They know who they are. They're not going to say, oh, I'm African. No, they're telling you, I'm Nigerian. I'm this, I'm that. And we should be able to tell people, well, yes, they're beautiful people. And we kind of look like them. But baby, I'm American Indian. I'm not from Africa. And I stand on my land. And it is what it is. So I'll open the panel up for a minute. Let me know if you could pop up if you want, play a little music, and wait for you to, y'all know the routine. Let me get the link in the chat. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Pace. You don't want to join the panel? I'll wait for a while for you to join the panel. There's the, where you go? Pin the message. I would like you, because I like my segments to really stick to what I talked about today. And there's a variety of things that I went into. Okay? And it's okay for people to disagree with me in the chat. But then go get the evidence to debunk the federal documents. That's all I'm saying. I don't play with African American studies, writing and stuff. No, I don't. And you will not come in my life and tell me who I am, especially when you 20 and 30 years old. No, you don't. Step the little stinking butt back. But thank you, Tressie, baby. Thank you. Hey, Bright Mo. Y'all, the link is pinned to the top. I'm going to go get a water break, and I hope to see you in the back here, and I'll let you on. I love you guys so much. I do. I truly do. So let's listen to a little music and wait for everybody to come up. I hope you come up. I would really love to talk with you. Let's get it, y'all. Baby. Love you too, baby girl. Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna go put some water. Anybody ready to come up? Come on up. I'm up here. I would love to hear from you. Link is pinned to the top. You're welcome to join the panel. I'm just taking a little water break, and just sit tight in the back and I'll let you on. The link is pinned to the top. I'd love to hear your thoughts about today's session. Is that really you, Nijis, in the back? Is that really you, Nijis?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can. Okay, good. Yes, I can hear you. I'll turn it down so everybody else can hear you. You could turn your camera off if you want. I know it's you. I know your voice.
Oh, okay.
What's going on?
Now much I was just listening to you, and I was actually coming from my mom's house, and I got to drive past the Ichata area Indian location. So I was listening to you as I traveled past the mounds right up
Oh,
here in North Georgia, coming from my mom's house.
are those mountains high? Because I'm so scared of heights. I
Yes.
fear bridges. Really?
So Lake Alatoona, Red Top Mountain, it's over 3,000 feet. It's up there. And then I wasn't too far. I probably was about an hour away from Rock City. And that's Lookout Mountain, where you can actually see 7 states from the cliff of the mountain.
You went up there?
Well, I've been up there, but I didn't. I got video of it. One day we all need to get together because right now I'm at the park right now. We all can get together and I can show the video because I showed some videos over on Smoke Signal channel, and now I found my old hard drive, so I got a lot of old videos. I got videos of us in DC cutting up.
Oh God. Oh, I would
Um,
love to see that. That was funny.
Yeah,
I
that's
had
why I said I saved that for a Zoom. I ain't want everybody to see that. I said, man, we was cutting up bad.
yeah, we was. Yes, we was. We was some wild Indians that day. True for sale.
Yes, we were.
Willie will never let that go. True for sale. I got some true for sale. Talking about you.
Yes, ma'am. And you know, we was the reason. You saw it with your own eyes. When we started leaving, they started packing up Black Lives Matter. They started shipping them out. You saw the
Yep.
line of police officers, and we told the police officers, go ahead and clean that up.
Yep. And they got him out of here.
And they started
Remember they
packing
was
them up
marching
out of
for
there.
us? Remember they moved the barrier out the way. The cop moved the car.
Man, look, I couldn't
Ah,
believe it.
we should have had that on camera when
I couldn't
we
believe
were
it. I
out
was
there. I know somebody
I,
called down there, and I've never seen them move a police barrier. I've
right.
never
Just
seen
and
it.
just for us. Just for us.
Yes, and then they closed it back after all of us got in.
Yes, could nobody pass after once Jasmine went through because Jasmine was holding
Yeah.
the back. Once she went past, could nobody go past her. That was it.
And remember when Alika was waving the Confederate flag?
They didn't understand.
And then we had to explain it to them. They was like, you know, the may I say modern day words, the white Europeans was like, what are they waving that flag for? Do they know what they're doing? And Alika was waving the flag. It was so funny. And then we had the slave schedules. They didn't know nothing about the slave schedules.
Yes, ma'am. And the pamphlets that you all had put together. We might have
Yeah.
passed out about 1,000 pamphlets to
Yes.
different individuals along the way. We met Indians along the way, marching all
Yep.
around DC. That was a great day.
Yeah, and we was in the middle of COVID.
Yes, I forgot all about that.
We was in the middle of it out there. We because they were camped out in front of that union headquarters in I think it was the LA that union headquarters right there where they was all camped out. Black Lives Matter.
Yep, yep. And
We was
you
marching.
remember? Oh, look, I gotta turn my camera on. Okay, I'm at the park. Hold on, because I was getting my workout on, family. So
Mhm.
y'all know me trying to stay in shape and everything. But when we turned the corner and we saw the tents, we was like, what the hell going on over here? Why
Yep.
is it look it looked nasty when we got to where the black people was camping at, talking about their Black Lives Matter. And when we got there, it was nasty, it was filthy. and then you had vendors on the side selling Black Lives Matter socks,
Remember the
t-shirts.
black guy that when he learned about his history, he snatched off the Black Lives Matter shirt and threw it on the ground.
Yes, ma'am. Look, that was a powerful day. And
Yeah,
then they
what? He
came
took it off.
running.
I was like, he
You
working
saw
for
the
Black
dude.
Lives Matter. And he took his shirt off and threw it on the ground.
You saw the dude with the bullhorn. He gonna try to overtalk me because I'm short. I put the
Oh,
sign right up in his face.
remember when they came when we was in front of the White House and they asked us first came down there on them damn roller skates.
Yes,
They came down on the
yes.
roller skates trying to disrupt our lecture in front of the White House. And Glenison went over there. I still got that footage.
We need to show all of that. I get all my old footage and send it over, but it's a lot of gigabytes though. That's the only thing. It's kind of large.
Glennis was heated. I was so scared. I thought he was going to start a damn war with Black
All
Lives
of
Matter
us
because
was
the
ready.
guy called him something, a black or something. And Glennis just
Hmm.
went livid. I was so scared. I was like,
And it just showed good because after we showed out on them with the media over there too, we all stood together in
yeah,
unison. We all was saying the same thing. We unhypnotized all those black people, and they was looking at us like, "What? What are you saying? What?"
yeah. But the
And
white people
and
too, they was like, wow, this is interesting because we showed the slave schedules with white people being slaves. Remember,
correct.
I still got that sign. It's huge. We made it poster size, and it was the slave schedules, and they were shocked.
We
But
need to do it
the
again.
guy that was there for marijuana, remember for the marijuana rights,
Yes,
he said, "No, my family came over here as remember indentured service slaves."
he passed.
No,
Oh,
the guy who the white guy that was fighting to get marijuana legalized.
okay. I remember him.
We walked up to him and he was explaining how he knew his family came here as slaves.
Mm,
I
I
got that
remember.
on tape. I got that on tape.
Oh, we need to show all of that and everything. And then
And then the poor
you and I
old,
both had a chance to speak to the world because they were broadcasting in like what 27 different countries.
yeah, they were. And wait a minute, when we walked across the street and the veteran man, I felt so bad for him because I think our presence kind of alarmed him. Because when he saw us dressed in our Indian attire, the first thing he thought of was the War of 1812. And remember,
Mm,
the man that was sitting next to him, he said, "Don't touch him." He stood in front of him. He thought we were, as Indians, that we were coming to harm him. So his mind went back in combat times. And he was like, he fought for this country. He's a man of good valor. And I was like, "Sir, no, we're not going to do anything to this man. We're just crossing by." He thought we were going to harm him. So in
right.
dealing with veterans, that happens. And we were dressed in our Indian attire, and I think he probably thought back to the stories of those times when he saw something. We calmed him down. He was like, "No," I'm like, "We're not going to do anything. We're just trying to get to the other side of the street, to get back to our cars." And he was all right after that. But I felt so bad. I really
And
did.
then on our way back to the thing, back to our hotel, who followed us?
The FBI, you know better than me. See how they followed us to see where we was going, and they knew that we was harmless people. We didn't have no weapons. All we had
Uh-oh, I'm
was
back.
guns. I, you know who them people was. Don't follow us back to our hotel and then sat down in the cafeteria eating lunch, watching us. That was like really crazy to me. That was really crazy.
Yes. Yes, they followed us all the way back, even with helicopters when we was marching. I looked up in the sky, I was
Oh
like,
my goodness, that was wild. The helicopter followed us all the way out of DC.
that
Once
what
we
made it
left,
real for me. When I looked
Willie
up
was
in the
driving.
sky,
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
"Bae." Oh, I was like, "Bae." Uh, uh, we kept hearing this noise over our car, but they were escorting us out the city, and that was nice because I guess they wanted to make sure nothing happened to us.
correct, but
And
we was ready.
well, I was not. I Willie was driving, and he looked. He said, "What the hell?" And I looked
Yep.
up and he waved, and I knew it was okay. But they escorted us out of DC off the highway, and when we got into another state, I think it was Maryland, on the way back, that's when they turned around. We was all right. They knew, I thought that was
Yep.
really, really great. I felt honored to
Yeah, we had a couple of cars. Like they had people sitting on the side of the roads when we was, because we had to head south. They had
Mhm,
police officers at every exit going all the way out of DC. Like
mm,
we had, and we was getting it. Like the police officer wanted us to do 80. We was
right.
getting it.
Oh, I
you
was
know?
Willie was I don't do no driving. But I thought that another really great thing that I thought happened that day was when oh, it just left my head. Oh, I got a brain fart. I almost said it. I'll think about it later. I got a brain fart. I guess because I'm hungry. I made some black eyed peas and I'm getting ready to go eat them. But
Oh, it's all
yeah, it
good.
was really cool that day. I thought it was really awesome, and
It
the
was, and we
news
need to do more
reporters were
powerful
nice.
things like that, where and let more people see us out and about and giving out good knowledge. And we was in unison. It was no one trying to talk over the other. If
Yeah,
one started talking, everybody was silent. We let that one speak, and they let it just showed great honor and the range of how we can actually get out here and be professional about things and make a
right,
difference, because it
right.
was impossible. Like we couldn't make a phone call and say, hey, can y'all move the police barrier and all of that and let us pass by. There was no such phone call we could have made to have that happen.
No, there wasn't. She radioed somebody, and
Hmm.
she got out her car, the woman cop. I remember that because she had it blocked this way. And when she got off the phone, they let us off, but they wouldn't let nobody else march down that street but us.
That's
And
right.
everybody was
That's right.
watching. The people were taking pictures. It was like Indians. Oh, so it was really, really, I thought it was a great experience. But what we also have to understand is the people that you can truly deal with, need just and if you can't turn your camera on YouTube, then you need not waste your time, because these are people that are hiding behind their cameras and they're not going to do anything.
Right. Like I show
They're
you
not
know
going to
me.
join
I'm an
you.
old guy. I'm
Right.
51 years old, gray hair and everything. Look at
Yeah.
that. Get all that in there.
You and Willie. Oh my goodness, Willie all gray now
That
too.
right.
He's all gray. I only
Yeah.
have a few strings right here, a few strings, and my
Not the
baby hair is
kids.
gray. Willie is gray, gray, gray.
Hmm.
Yeah, I only have a few strings, so yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
in order to get people to really come together and meet you in different states and places like that, it's not going to be the people with their cameras off, because obviously they have something to hide. If you can't
Hmm.
turn your camera on, be professional and talk, then those are the people you're really wasting your time with. They're just there for a reason, to distract or help someone create conflicting content. So
That's right.
I I used to feel like crazy lecturing by myself on the piano. And it took Dane to say, no, 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 no. You don't need nobody on the panel with you. You got the voice to lecture. You could be by yourself. And then I took that confidence, and here I am, 2 hours and 20 minutes later.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And that's you doing real good. Like I told you the other day, try to make my way over here before I get rained out. Um, like I said the other day, all the progression that you have made and the things that you've been showing people, like everyone can go back 4 years ago and see that we were some real wild Indians and all of that. And now you can see people are a lot more calm.
Yeah.
Uh, we're patient a little bit. Let some people get some things off their chest, and then we come back and say whatever we have to say. And that's what I'm trying to get a lot of people to see, even right here in my neighborhood, like this park where I'm at, just right down there, just maybe 100 feet away, is where I used to teach A+ for youngins in the
Mhm.
neighborhood that wanted to get into IT. And
Wow,
I was like,
A plus is tough. I know a lot of people who couldn't pass that exam.
oh yeah, they need to talk to me. I got all the questions they would ever ask you on the exam. It's 1,500 questions. So once you look at them a couple of times, you'll pass. You just
Oh,
really got
I'm
to
not
know what you're
interested in
doing.
taking that. No, I'm not interested. I mean, people at my job that took A plus found it very difficult
Mm-hmm.
to learn and pass. Colleagues, okay, and I'm like, I was never into computer programming anyway. The most I did was PeopleSoft, application building, and but that was from the user side. It wasn't
Yep.
very technical. And today they make it more user friendly for you to be able to build applications.
Mm-hmm.
Software
That's
engineers.
right.
Hey, Smoke. So yeah, but dang, I'm way off the conversation. But yeah, today I really hope I don't want to make the segment too long, but I'm trying to give our people different ways to look in and see the history writings for what it really is. The problem is not understanding that it's you that they're talking about. It's you that they've been dealing with. This is not
Mm-hmm.
so Indian. It's you. And putting the pieces together. Well, wait a minute. How come it was just only black and white people in the Civil War? Something's wrong here. Where was the Indians? Because if you're going to fight in the Civil War, why are you fighting over somebody else? Why would you be fighting over somebody else's land if it wasn't
That's
your
right.
land? So we're getting them to really understand what the wars was all about. They never say the Indian, but they say the War of 1812. Who was that with? That was the Indian War. So
That's right.
we're
And
getting
then
them to understand our history from a very different perspective. And it's
that's
working.
that's right. And like the stuff that you're saying, I have proof of it in my family heirloom where they wrote about being removed from their land, forced off
Mm,
their land, and
yep.
had to go walk down this trail of tears or whatever they want to call it now. And I have it in different ancestors for me, and I can see where they writing it down. I can see where someone kept the diaries and put it all together in this one family heirloom. So and once I started seeing stuff like that, I knew then, this is real. This
Yeah.
is this is our meaning in life. Because a lot of us feel like, when you go to work every day, it's boring. I know it's more to life than just going to work and coming home and everything. Is there something being hidden from us? And what's being hidden from us is our heritage to this land. Period.
Facts. And I try to, work with our people because it's
Hmm.
when you're reading our history, it is very sad. It's very hurtful, and you can't possibly. It's difficult to put yourself in the position of our ancestors. What would your mindset be like if that was you? We can only think of what we would do today,
That's
but
right.
to actually live that life, it had to be very traumatizing. Very,
Hmm.
especially when you're seeing the explosives, like I showed earlier, of the result of them making a civil it was either you become civil or you die, and that's what the
Mm.
Civil War was about. And but people in society, well, in this society, always thought that the Civil War was black people against white people. No,
Mm-mm.
we were in that war fighting for civilization. And that's why I took the story the way I did it with the Indian Removal Act and who stayed on the land and didn't go to Oklahoma, but stayed and they became civil citizens. beyond their
Mhm.
request. But once you became a citizen, you were and the state and the federal government had rights over you. They were able to draft you in the service, whether you wanted to go or not. That's what
Mhm.
the draft was about. A lot of our ancestors went to prison for escaping the draft. So it's a whole lot to it. But I'm just taking it piece by piece. And I'm gonna get out of here because I'm gonna be in here all day. I'm so hungry. And you know what? I'm gonna go back to sleep because I'm tired. My body's tired. But I will
Mm.
be back. I just won't be on every day. I have to pick special days to do, like, I'm trying to get my segments to be just an hour now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just an
I
hour
understand.
of lecturing. But yeah, so but I hope today's segment really opens up. Everybody tells me that it opens them up to more, opens up a can of worms to other things to think about. So that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to get them to think civilly. I don't deal with people who can't cut their camera on because you ain't real with yourself. First of all, if you can't cut your camera on, you're not even real with yourself. So why even
Mhm.
bother to deal with you? It'd be some
That's right.
goofball.
I get up here with the
Goofball.
bad haircut and everything. You know
Oh,
me. I
geez.
don't mind. I report what goes on in the city. Um, right now, a lot of the illegal aliens have been. I would say, they're not gone, but majority, I would say, it is gone. There's few of them, because they're working in the warehouses that they have down South Georgia.
Yeah,
Mhm. So I
I
do
know
see
a
them
lot.
working down there.
Someone told me that the Uber driving and all those different kind of DoorDash drivings and things of that nature are so busy now because a lot of them immigrants fled because um they were illegal immigrants and they were doing DoorDash and stuff and things of that nature. And the busyness of it has picked up because they
Yeah.
all fled because they were under fake names. Like they would pay
Oh.
people to use their social. Oh, honey, I'll get into all that on another segment. But if I keep talking, I'm gonna keep going on and
Okay.
on and
Yeah, I'm
on.
gonna let
But
you go.
I'm gonna let you go, James. Love you, bruh. I'm gonna get out of
Yes,
here,
ma'am.
y'all.
Love
I
you
know
too.
Smoke Crazy Butt is about to go live with his crazy crew.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'll just jump up there
big
and go ham.
somebody named Big Sister. Oh, okay. This is a real person. Okay. Okay, sis, I'm letting you on. I see you. You could turn it off. I can't hear you yet.
So
Hi,
how do
how
I have
are
to
you?
do? How you doing? How's
Hi.
everybody doing?
Hey, hey, hey.
Hi, how are you?
Peace and love, peace and love. How y'all doing? Hi, Sister Bethy.
Hi,
So
how
what
are
do I have
you?
to do? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to set the phone up so it don't fall and I don't have to hold it, but I'll just hold it right here for now. I just really wanted to jump up here and I wanted to first of all thank you, Sister Bethy, because I've been watching you for some years, and between you and Dane Calloway's work, it's really opened my eyes and made me start going back and, questioning and talking to my family members, the
Mm,
elders in my family. And what I've come to find out over the past few years is what you've often said about a lot of them being, kind of afraid to speak
yes,
about
silent.
certain things.
The
The things that
silent
I've learned,
generations.
yeah. And the things I've learned recently, like just from my mom, about the things that my granddad told her, kind of made me understand why nobody ever really spoke about it in my family. Because I was like, well, mom, like if we have that blood, if we are, then why nobody ever told me growing up? Because I was chasing the African, side.
Yeah.
Like I would hear little things about it growing up, but always in the dark. It was always kept
Hmm.
hush hush. So, I really would like to get with you to discuss the whole genealogy process, because this is really making me want to now know, and mostly from my mother, because she lost her mother at birth. But
Mm.
I want her
Sorry.
to have this for her before she transitions. So
Oh,
yeah, but it's really deep. It's really deep, and I really would like to get with you on another level.
okay. So I put my email in the back. I've been very busy with genealogy this past month because I stepped away from it. I had to get a mental break for like, because I was doing like 3 genealogies in one day and scheduling appointments. You can never finish genealogy. It's never done because you always have family members to add to the tree. So
Right.
I meet with a lot of families on a month to month basis now. We work 2 hours, we come back the next month, do another 2 hours. That's how I do it. So I put my email in the private chat in the back if you want to grab it and copy it. And you send me
Okay.
an email,
I
and
will
then
do.
I'll give you our tribal email address. But
Okay.
that's to me directly since you came through Dane. So it's in the
Uh,
back.
I
So
actually, I don't really know. My YouTube channel, I started that like 8 years ago, just because when I started coming into the understanding of like everything, like my eyes came open, and I was like, oh my god, what?
yeah,
Nobody in my circle's talking about any of this stuff. Like, I
yeah.
gotta say something. I gotta do something. It's
Well,
I don't know what you call it. Like it's an explosion, like a DNA explosion you have.
yeah. Pretty much, that's what it is. Because they were a silenced generation, and you have to remember what our families were put to. They were forced into Christianity in order to be accepted by the folks that came here because we were not practicing Christianity. And a lot of things, because we were such a silenced generation, our grandmothers, anyone born 1930s and back, that's the silenced generation. They were silenced. So a lot of our history was passed down orally. And what wasn't
Right.
passed down, Big Mama wrote it in the Bible. So you find a lot of your family names in the Bible. Remember when you used to get your Bible and you see all the different family names in the Bible?
Yes, I
That that's
lost
how
my
we kept
father.
up because we were silenced.
Yes, that's true. Because when I lost my father, I took his Bible, and in his Bible is everybody's name,
Name.
birth dates. It's like the whole family tree.
Yeah, because when they
So
got
you're right.
baptized and saved, it was up the family was always the tribe, your individual families. So in the Bible, they would record the Baptist date, the date you were baptized, and your name and date of birth and time. They didn't have any
Right,
respect for us like in the hospitals because remember, birth certificates didn't come out until like after 1908 in some state, the majority of states. There was no birth
right.
certificates. A lot of people from the South that I'm learning, because we came to Connecticut North in 1929, ran off our farm. But I'm learning so many people, like down south, they was born in their house, and I was shocked because Willie told me he was born in his house. So a lot of people,
Yeah, a lot of my people told me that too.
they was born in their house. They wasn't born in
Yeah,
no hospitals because we didn't have no rights and we wasn't part of their system. So we didn't go to their hospitals. We had our own natural doctors and stuff, and our big mamas knew how to catch them babies when they came out. A lot of our
my
history
big
is very
mama did.
oral.
My big mama did too. You know something else my big mama used to do, not to cut you off, but my big mama, may she rest in power. She used to talk fire out of people. Like if you were burnt or something like that, she knew how to literally talk the fire out, is what my aunts and everybody would always call it. But
Mm,
yeah, she would do a lot of that stuff, a lot of things that were passed down from our ancestors too. So
hmm
yeah, I remember a lot of those things growing up. But then things then got kind of silent, especially once she passed.
There was the
And so that
silence
side of our
generation.
family kind of got buried. So I try to talk
Right.
to those that are still alive now today to get
hmm
as much of the information as I can get.
hmm
Yeah.
So I do know that the silence generation. Um oh god, I keep getting these brain farts. Silent. It has something to do with the silent generations. Everything became so orally, and it's a lot to learn about our history because remember, that's why I always talk about the Pequots. Indians here because they look just like us. And exactly what was done to them were done to us. But when it happened to them, it happened in the 16 and 1700s with the Pequots.
Mm,
That was all in the north, what they did with the northern Indians. And then they had enough, they were greedy. They said, okay, now we got to push it to the south. So they wrote the Pequots out of history. That was a huge tribe. There's people walking around right now in the city of Hartford that are Pequot Indians and don't even know it.
how about that? Yeah, it
Yep.
really is. It really is.
A
And
lot
it
of
can be
people here,
split.
Willie was telling me, a lot of people, a lot of his boys that he grew up with, be like, yo, I ain't got no family in the South. Everybody here. That's because they always been here in the North. See, everybody, when they think about Indians, they always think of the South because the South is so large. But there was thousands of Indians, thousands of Indians here in the North too. But the difference between the North and the South, a lot of the Indians here in the North are mixed. They are mulattoes. So this is where you get your Watchaplecker with his um um arrogant attitude about Indians. Oh, you're mixed. Because the full blood Indian is
What was
me
the
and
deal with
you.
him?
They
What
was
was
it was
why
just
did
a,
he
it was
pick
just a
up on
racist
himself?
thing. It was a racist thing. He was a register of a state, and he um uh established the one drop rule. That really officially happened in Virginia. However, he was so influential that he convinced the other state registers to follow his lead. So that's why in
Mm-hmm.
other states you see Negro, colored on birth certificates because they followed his lead.
Mm-hmm.
He was their
Yeah.
influence. So you figure, well, why are people in South Carolina and Texas got Negro on their birth certificates? Because of the influence of Walter Plecker. So
Ah,
we say
yeah.
the origination came out of Virginia, but he was so influential to other state registers that they said, you know what? Yeah, we're going to do to separate the light from the dark. And they gave the lighter Indian that had more of their European features the power.
Because I was just having a conversation with my aunt, and she was just telling me what she could remember from what my grandmother told her about the family bloodline and whatnot. And she happened to mention to me that Negro was on my oldest aunt's birth certificate.
Yeah, when you see and you have to ask yourself, okay, in I was born in 60s, so Negro was on my birth certificate until I corrected with my state. But how is your grandmother a colored and then your mom a Negro and then you back to being colored? How does that work? Why is there different descriptions? So that's how you see what they did with the Indian, all these racial identities.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh
granted,
yeah.
nobody has African American on their birth certificates. Nobody.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'm not I don't
And then
mind.
there are states like in DC. A lot of DC birth certificates don't have the race on it. So states opted out of racially identifying its people. I know a lot of people who do not have race or race on their birth certificate. And that's because that state opted not to racially identify the babies. So I'm like, you don't have a fight
Mhm.
with your state. If they didn't call you Indian or colored, you can't make them. You can't. All you can do, you should be glad you wasn't labeled as a colored. Okay.
Well, I'm
That's
You
right.
should be
70s, baby.
glad.
I'm
And
down.
they left it blank because now all you have to do is continue your life moving forward, correcting your applications when you go to your doctor's office or all these places where you have to give that type of information. You're the one responsible to correct it, not the white guy. It's your responsibility to correct it. And I always tell our people that it's nothing to be afraid of.
That's right.
Go to the doctors. You're doing a simple thing that you have a right to do. But anyway, I'm gonna get off of here because I was like so
Okay.
hungry. I'm so hungry and I want to
I
relax.
did you were
But I'll
talking
be
to. I was
back.
trying to hurry up and get on. I said,
No,
"Oh
that's
no, she's
okay. I
going."
appreciate you. I hope you continue to visit. I enjoy
I
the
will. I
dialogue.
will. I mean, I usually just stay in the background. I'm kind of shy, and then I get a little camera shy once the lights come on sometime. And that's funny
That's
because
okay.
I got a YouTube channel, but I get camera shy when I get on the camera in front of an audience.
Oh,
but
don't be camera shy. I love the dialogue. It's good to have great dialogue. It's healthy.
But I'm not camera shy in person. That's the funny thing. In person, I love the dialogue. I love especially things like this. I can go
Yeah.
on for hours and hours and hours. My family usually have to
Yeah.
shut me up. All right, all right, all right.
But if you
So,
really think about it, that's the type of dialogue that our ancestors, our great grannies had. It was called folk talk.
uh-huh.
They
Okay.
knew a lot. It was called folk talk down south. Folk talk. And Granny always led the folk talk, and Grandpa. They told you stories about the different wars that happened because it was passed down to them. Yeah, them damn. Because I would recall my grandmother would use certain words when she was yelling and screaming at the kids, at us as children, especially my brothers, disciplining them. And she would be like, "Get your ass in here, you Choctaw nigga, you." And I'm like, where does that come from? And now we know what a Choctaw is. And hi, Ebony, Hallie, I need to see you and make sure you're real. Oh, you are very real. Okay, I'll let you up. You know, you get people that come on here and show some really
yeah,
bad stuff.
yeah. So
How
Yeah.
are
yeah.
you?
I'm wonderful.
So
How
good.
are you guys? How is everyone, Sister Betty?
Hi,
Good,
how are
good.
you?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. I'm glad I finally got to get into your chat.
Oh,
Yay.
I'm glad to have you. I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, always, always. Right. I caught you at in like the middle part. I was catching up on one of Dane's uh uh sites, and I was like, oh my God, I got to get over there real fast. So thank you
Yeah,
for
he
allowing
does
me
it
up.
24 hours now. I could go back and catch. I watch all of his
Yeah.
segments, and every time I watch one that he has up live, he edits. He's editing a lot of his older videos because he found new information. Um,
Mm,
and so he
Hmm.
edits the new information in, and I really like that. I think that's cool that he's doing
yeah.
that. 'Cause I watch all his videos.
Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Um. I sent in my registration for the Zoom. I just sent it in yesterday. I'm a little late, but I got it in before the March 31st deadline.
Is this for the Mandarin Chinese,
No, no, that's for the talking about this new state
the
to
new
be
state?
to yeah, talking about bringing in the new state.
Well, I kind of like pushed away from that because Dane is doing something to that aspect. So I said, you know what? I'll just let him do that. But what I can do is lecture on how you get it started, how you start
Okay.
a new state. It has to be on unincorporated land and it can't be in between two states. And you have to get permission from that state and Congress to
Okay.
start to get the approval. But the admissions clause never ended. It never
Mm.
ended. It's still effective as of today. You can start another state. Let's say you went to one of the islands and you wanted to make that a state. That can be done. That's why Trump said he wanted to make Canada a state and take over Gaza, and that'll become a state.
Okay.
A 53rd state, because you can do it. Doesn't always necessarily have to be on this particular landmass, but I ain't leaving this
Uh,
landmass. I said I'll make a municipality, but you getting to think about it. I'm like, oh hell no. If I go over there, then they got me out of my land. No, 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 no. I'll make a
Right.
municipality. I think it's the easiest and way for us to start as people. I think maybe we should have that conversation. What's easier than what's the best route to start? Because I think when you start off as a municipality, it's better
Okay.
than a whole state. Because a whole state, that's a lot of work. Because a whole state has many towns. It's a lot
Right.
of work. I think
Right.
easiest way, and that's what foreigners been doing, creating municipalities all over the place. All they need is a certain amount of people and proof from their local municipality to do it, and it becomes a municipality.
Right.
Mm.
It's a shame.
Yeah,
It's
so
a shame, that's for sure. I also I've always been the one in the family that has always been like, who am I? Where am I from? Why do I look the way that I look? I know my grandmother used to talk all the time in regards to Indian background, but you always hear just you always hear you got this Caucasian connection as well.
mhm.
So that kind of throws me off a little bit. Um, so I tried to get my mom to get her birth certificate and her mother's birth certificate. We have my mom's, but we don't have my grandmother's. We're still looking for that.
What
Um,
year was your grandmother born in? Because no birth
she,
certificates was made until after 1908.
I think Granny was born in like the 20s.
Okay, then there should be a birth certificate for her.
I think she was born in the
Unless,
20s.
unless now being born in the 20s, she could have been born in her house. And that's why when you're looking through ancestry and you find a lot of these like weird birth certificates, like what is it called again? The late birth certificate or something like that. I forgot the name.
Delayed certificate of
Delayed
birth.
you see a lot of delayed certificates of birth because a lot of those babies were born in the house.
Mm.
So if you're born in the
Hmm.
house, it's
I have
like
a bunch of
no
that.
real record.
Yep.
Yeah, delayed
Okay.
birth
There's
certificates.
no record really of that. And that
Right,
might be
because
what it
they
is.
recorded it in the Bible, and Aunt Betty Sue stole the Bible and died with it and give it to nobody. She was so evil. You get the family. Our family. A lot of our families are not talking to each other because of shit that happened in like 1800,
Right.
That's so
and that's
true.
crazy.
Right. Right.
And I'm like, well, damn, we wasn't born.
Right. Because my mom act like she doesn't know anything.
Oh yeah,
She
they're
she
gonna do that.
she acts
Yeah,
like
my mother
she
did
don't
that
know
too.
nothing.
And a lot of our families are at war with each other because of now all the land was just taken by the municipality. We had heirs back then that sold the land little by little pieces of the land until they had to get off. And I always use fake names like Aunt Betty Jean or tell you everything. Aunt Betty Jean live in the hood, and her family is considered the ghetto part of the family.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Uncle Roar and Aunt Louise, they go to church and they live in the suburbs in nice houses, and where they get the money from. And that's when Aunt Betty Jean said, well, they took the damn land and we ended up in the hood. And so you got half of your family that lived the hood life and the other half that lived the boule life and looked
Right.
down on the hood family. So a lot of that went on because Uncle Buster sold the damn land and
Right.
didn't tell nobody.
Right.
That's so
And that's why
true.
they get touchy with you when you call them and say, Uncle Bus, the land, grandma's land in what the hell, Tennessee. What you want to know for? But what they forget to realize is you're so many generations away and you can literally read and write and comprehend, which a lot of our people were deprived of. And you can go in the municipality and find out what happened to that land. Because
Mhm.
Betty Jean Lane
Right.
is on the land being sold by Betty Jean, and that's why I ain't talking.
Right. No. Fact.
So it's a lot of stories
Yeah,
as to
that's
why how to
crazy.
live. Why
That's
Right.
family's not
going on in
talking.
my family now.
Yeah, one side. I'm like, wait a minute. You didn't go to school like I did when I was little, but you own a house here, and how you own a house, and we live in the dirty hoods because you stole the land and sold it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh,
You
wow.
sold the land, and now we know. A lot of us are finding out the real reasons why the marshals came to our door and said, "You got to get out," because Aunt Betty Jean sold the land.
Right.
Why? Because she was the oldest.
Wow. Because you
So a
know what's
lot of
funny?
that
Them,
went on.
them oldest. Now let me stop.
So yeah,
My grandfather did do a lot of real estate back in the days, and I do have some family out in the south that are doing pretty all right.
Right.
And I don't know. And then the other side are like you just said, in the hoods of New York, in the hoods of Delaware. But they're
yeah,
down there doing really well, still
yeah.
on the original land that my granddad and them was, or in that area, should I say.
Girl, there
So
ain't no
yeah.
real fights in the family until somebody die with land. Where there's a will, there's a relative.
Mm,
Always
yeah.
Mm.
remember that. When there's a will, there's a relative.
And
So
it ain't too many wheels out there.
no. Mm-mm.
That's the bad part. That's the bad part in regards to that. Because I know my mom's mother. I know she had property or still has property back home in Michigan. Um, but she left all that to come here to California. And I just be like, well, why do we leave from where the family was, succeeding to where the family just struggled?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's
you got to remember, a lot of our lands were taken when a lot of our grandfathers were drafted in the service in the non-war. That's when a huge amount of our lands went, and we couldn't keep them lands as when we had the kids, and they took
mm,
daddy. They took all the fathers and drafted them for the war, for Nam and everything. And when they came back to the hoods, and they're like, Betty Jean, where the hell you got me that? What happened to that land? It was then deemed abandoned land because the woman was left with the land when they drafted our dad, our granddaddy. There's a lot of stories, y'all. Y'all done kept
mm.
me for another 30 minutes. I'm hungry.
Sorry, Miss Stephanie.
Oh,
I
wait,
hope
wait,
y'all
wait, wait,
I
wait,
hope
wait,
y'all
wait.
come back again and we can
Yes,
I gotta
talk
most
ask
about these
definitely.
you one
things.
more question. Please let me ask you one more question, Sister Betty, before you get up.
Okay.
I was walking out the room when I heard you talking about Hambo, Hambo. Have you heard? My granddad used to always sing that to me, and he used to
Yeah.
always sing, "They'll be coming around the mountain when they come." Are you saying that those are Indian songs?
Yes, because my grandfather taught us how to do hand bone with our hand.
Yeah, he used to do that with the step of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. That's Indian
Wow.
stuff. Yep.
Okay.
And like half of
'Cause
my side is from South Carolina, then Georgia.
mine too.
My
Mine too.
fourth generation husband is from Washington, Georgia. Washington, Georgia. It's called
Right.
Wilt,
Yeah.
Washington, Georgia. And then we got my father's side, they're all from Florida, Tampa.
See, that's my mom's mother. She's from Pensacola, and then my
Huh?
father is from Portersville, Missouri,
What is that?
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Okay.
Missouri.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my
I've been
my
there.
my mom's side, my mom's family used to work for my father's family.
Mm.
Yes, and then
So
my father is a Vietnam vet, and then his father and grandfather both are militants too.
yeah. And those records are interesting when you see what side your families fought on because we was fighting against each other because we had some of our families like your father could have like six brothers. Three
Oh,
of
he
them were
does.
Confederate, three of them are Confederate soldiers, and three of them are Union soldiers. So they're fighting against each other.
Each other. Yeah.
That's why I said their Bible really depicts what they were going to do to us. And people don't realize that. And their Bible says brothers will fight against brothers. Are we not fighting against each other? Even in the
Right.
time of war, civil war, it gets deep. But I invite y'all. Maybe I'll have a topic tomorrow, and we could come up and discuss these conversations that we have with our families, and you could tell us. And a lot of us are. I'm Generation X, so those are people born between like 1965 up to 1980. A lot of us share
That would be my
very
generation.
similar stories, Generation X. And
Yeah, I just think
we're the
54.
pushers of we're the real pushers of this, but the millennials is even more powerful than us because they've been exposed to more politically than we were. So that's why when we speak, they look at us like they're crazy because a lot of things we say don't make sense to them. Well, why can't you do this? Well, who told you couldn't do it? That's Generation X.
They
I mean,
don't have that.
Generation Y. That's the Y generation. They're very
Yeah, all
business
my kids
minded.
look at me like I'm crazy when I'm talking. I be like, y'all is not Africans, y'all is Indians. Your dad,
Yeah,
I don't know what your daddy is, but I'm telling you what you is for me.
Yeah.
We ain't no Africans.
We could talk
my
about the
kids are
different
the same.
generations. I love talking about the different generations. Like the generation after us, X, is our children. They're that millennial, and they all have the same attitude. It don't matter what their race is, because they
Yeah,
look us like we crazy. And
yeah.
then they can't stand millennials have real issues with baby boomers. That's our mothers. And we in between, it's like, wait a minute, you talking to my mother, wet blue chick. Well, I could see why you are the way you are now. Wearing rollers in your head, talking about you gotta marry some dude, and he the man of the house. Oh hell no! I'm the one man in my house. If I'm paying all the bills, that's that damn millennial.
Our
um,
kids.
the millennial
Yeah,
ain't no joke. They ain't no joke. They make
you're
their
not
baby
poor.
daddies babysit. They make their
Poor
baby. If I, oh, you made this baby with me, you gonna watch this baby. And
Well,
they tell you, Mom, mind your business. You wore rollers and aren't this close. I'm not doing that. We don't even have irons. And so I just like back off. And at 30s. So I invite y'all tomorrow when I get off work, when I go live, and we can have these conversations so we can hear what you're going through in your families and what you're struggling with in your genealogy. So maybe that's something we could talk about tomorrow. I love to have those kind of conversations because they're
'cause
healthy.
you guys are 3 hours ahead, right?
I'm Eastern time. What state are you in?
I'm in California.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's gonna be.
normally, if I go live during a week, it's
Delaware.
always like around 3 o'clock. Um, it's like
Okay.
3 o'clock Eastern, which would put it 12 noon your
Well,
time. If you're on the
okay.
West Coast,
Okay.
yeah. But my niece, I got family in Delaware. My nieces, I love my nieces.
Yeah,
They in
I moved down
Delaware.
here from New York
My nieces,
City.
yeah,
Most of
my
my
nieces are
family
in
is from
Delaware.
South Carolina, Georgia.
That's crazy though. My brother moved him and his wife to South Carolina, and that he's the first family member to return to South Carolina since my family was burned off their farmland
Mm.
in
Mm.
1929. My brother, and I was like, "What made you want to?" He said, "I'm just going. I guess that's that family bloodline." He's never been to South Carolina, but he moved. He just picked up and moved.
Wow.
See?
Something
It's
in
crazy.
Georgia,
Wow.
So
Poland,
I just say it's
Poland
something
there.
about the South, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I love the
yeah,
South.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. I love it too. I'm going back. Well, my daughter's down
I
there
love
now,
the South. There's something. But look at all of us that was pushed in the
and we
hoods
still got land
and
down there.
pushed
A lot of us.
north. Yeah, a lot of us still have lands. A lot of us pushed in the north from the south. Forced migrated from the south. It's interesting because when we
And
go on
city life is
vacation, where we
hard on
go? When we go on
To the
vacation, where do
South.
we go? To the
To the
south.
South.
Everybody go to
down
the south.
south. I went
That's
down south
vacation
every
for us.
summer. Every summer, my mother sent me down.
Yeah,
Every summer,
we
my
go
mother
down
sent
south
me
for
down south to
vacation.
go stay with my big mama.
Other people be like, "Oh, down. You gotta go to Jamaica." I'm like, "No, I'm going down south."
It's a sense
Nobody,
of it's a sense of
nobody's,
serenity for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
nobody is turning down Big Mama's food. They coming down there for her pig feet, her chitlins, everything,
Yeah, well.
chicken, fish,
I want it
coming,
all.
and they're coming
look
to
what the
um
kids done
have
done
all
to us,
kinds of
man.
The men is gonna be battling each other in sports. Oh,
Yup,
nigga, you
playing
can't do this.
cards,
You
playing
now you a North nigga.
dominoes,
You're not from the
playing
South no
chess.
more. But you don't sleep us. We ain't no slow niggas in the South. Come on over. You know that family love, and then you leave and go back north, and then, so that's how we Indians did. So I'll see y'all tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'm about to go eat
All
my
All
right.
right,
black eyed
cool.
peas,
I will
and
be in the
cornbread.
building.
Th-
I tell you.
Okay.
All
I see
right.
y'all.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
I love
you.
Stephanie.
y'all.
Thank you for
You're
having me and
welcome.
enjoy
Love you
the
too, Sister Beth.
All
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Bye,
we're
Okay,
gonna talk
Sam.
cool.
about this on the panel tomorrow, and it'll help other people in
yeah,
Yeah.
chat.
yeah.
So I love
So
y'all. See y'all tomorrow.
I love y'all and everybody be safe. Yeah. Okay.
All right now.
All right. Have a good one, Sister Bethy.
Okay, you too.